Chapter 725. Interesting, this is really interesting. I didn't expect you to be so bold as to kill the people of the East Sea Palace. It seems like you want my immortal island to take the blame for you. When Yi Chunfeng killed Elder Hai Lu and collected their belongings, Zhen Mimi, who looked like a steaming meat bun, appeared with two experts in black robes and devil masks. They were emitting cold auras from head to toe. Duplicate address access 7777777F6474772E636F6D. I didn't expect you to be so bold as well. You clearly saw me kill the people of the East Sea Palace, and you still dare to come and find trouble with me. Do you really think that I won't kill you just because you're ugly? Yi Chunfeng looked at Zhen Mimi coldly and said with killing intent. You're courting death. Zhen Mimi hated it when people called her ugly. Anyone who insulted her had their hands and feet broken and thrown into a snake's nest to feed the snake. Go, capture him and break his legs. I want him to know the consequences of offending me. Zhen Mimi was so angry that all the fat on her body was trembling. She was unable to restrain her anger as she ordered. Hearing Zhen Mimi's order, the two devil-masked men remained indifferent. This made her even angrier. Her thick nostrils were constantly snorting. Mimi, don't mess around. At this time, a deep and fierce voice suddenly sounded. The Immortal Island Master, who was wearing a black robe with golden patterns and had a tall and sturdy figure and fiery red hair fluttering in the wind, walked out of the clouds with more than 10 experts of the Immortal Island. A level 5 Beast Emperor. I didn't expect the Immortal Island Master to be a peerless expert. The moment he saw the Immortal Island Master, Yi Chunfeng immediately sensed danger. He didn't expect the Immortal Island Master to be even stronger than the East Sea Palace Master, Hemingway map. He was a level 5 Beast Emperor. You can actually sense my strength. The Immortal Island Master's face sank, revealing a trace of surprise. He was surprised that Yi Chunfeng could accurately sense his deeply hidden strength. Brat, no matter who you are, no matter what your identity is, you killed the people of the East Sea Palace on my Immortal Island. Shouldn't you give me an explanation? The Immortal Island Master said with a cold face. Explanation? Yi Chunfeng snorted and said fearlessly, they were the ones who were courting death. What does it have to do with me? After he finished speaking, Yi Chunfeng's body flashed, and he appeared in front of Zhen Mimi at an extremely fast speed. You're courting death. Although Zhen Mimi was incomparably ugly, the Immortal Island Master's personality was. This was the Immortal Island Master's. Seeing Yi Chunfeng suddenly attacking Zhen Mimi, the Immortal Island Master was immediately enraged. The Tao intent of water and darkness gushed out of his body and bombarded Yi Chunfeng like mercury. The moment the Tao intent of water and darkness attacked, the entire space fell into chaos. The powerful Tao intent caused the space to distort, greatly slowing down Yi Chunfeng's speed. After refining the demon blood and the golden rock's heart's blood, Yi Chunfeng's strength increased by leaps and bounds. However, the gap between him and a level 5 Beast Emperor was still huge. Furthermore, the Immortal Island Master was not an ordinary level 5 Beast Emperor. Facing the Tao intent attack, Yi Chunfeng decisively summoned the sword puppet to defend himself. Boom! When the Tao intent of water and darkness bombarded the sword puppet, endless energy sparks surged out. Enduring the Tao intent attack of the Immortal Island Master, the sword puppet was like an unsheathed treasure sword. It soared into the sky and turned into a sword. It slashed out a terrifying sword light that seemed like a crack in space, forcing the Immortal Island Master to retreat. Die! The two devil-masked men standing behind Zhen Mimi also attacked at the same time. They used powerful Tao techniques to attack Yi Chunfeng. Sword step. The two attacked with all their strength. A sword-pattern Tao array appeared under Yi Chunfeng's feet. The terrifying sword Tao pattern instantly tore apart the Tao techniques of the two men and appeared in front of Zhen Mimi, who was now pale with fright. Fat pig, come over here. Yi Chenfeng showed no mercy to the ruthless and lawless Zhen Mimi. The sky demon rope broke out of his body and wrapped around Zhen Mimi's bloated body. His right hand pressed on the top of her head. "Whoever dares to come near me, I will kill her immediately." Yi Chenfeng looked at the experts of the Immortal Island who were quickly surrounding him and warned loudly. "How dare you?" Zhen Mimi did not expect that she would become Yi Chenfeng's prisoner. She roared in exasperation. "Gotcha!" As soon as Zhen Mimi finished speaking, Yi Chenfeng increased the strength of his fingers. The powerful force forcefully cracked Zhen Mimi's head. A large amount of blood flowed out uncontrollably. Zhen Mimi was in so much pain that she cried out in pain. "Stop!" The Immortal Island Master, whose attacks were suppressed by the sword puppet, saw that Zhen Mimi was in danger. Her face darkened as she shouted loudly. "Give me a ship and send me out to sea." The reason why Yi Chenfeng took the risk to return to the Immortal Island was because of the ship. However, he did not expect that the people of the East Sea Palace had been waiting for him. After killing the experts of the East Sea Palace, he attracted the Immortal Island Master. "Impossible." The Immortal Island Master rejected without hesitation. "Since you want to collect her corpse, I will fulfill your wish." As he spoke, Yi Chenfeng increased the strength of his fingers. His fingers, which were filled with millions of pounds of force, directly pierced Zhen Mimi's skull. A large amount of blood gushed out. She could smell the thick threat of death. "Save me! Father, save me! I don't want to die!" Facing death, Zhen Mimi no longer had her arrogance. Her chubby face was pale as she shouted in fear. "If you kill Mimi, I will let you die without a burial place," the Immortal Island Master said with a sinister and dangerous expression. "You think you can do that?" The sword puppet, who was floating in the air, said coldly with a murderous aura. "Young Master Feng, if you had only killed the people of the Eastern Sea Palace, I could have made the decision to let you go. However, you shouldn't have plundered the people of the Qilin Divine Nation. In order to appease the anger of the Qilin Divine Nation, we can only capture you and hand you over to the Qilin Divine Nation to be dealt with." Just as the situation was in a stalemate, Shui Hanyan, who was wearing a tight black martial arts suit and had an exquisite figure like a dark elf, exuding a fatal charm, appeared with 4 emperors. Looking at Yi Chenfeng, Shui Hanyan still couldn't believe it. With the strength of a level 6 defiant beast king, he actually robbed the experts of the Qilin Divine Nation, destroyed her meticulous plan, eliminated the corrosive soul in the demonic blood, and even cultivated the secret art sword steps in such a short time. "What? Is your Octahead Kingdom afraid of the Kirin Kingdom?" Looking at Shui Hanyan, who was so beautiful that it made people's hearts palpitate, Yi Chenfeng smiled slightly and deliberately made it clear. As soon as Yi Chenfeng finished speaking, Shui Hanyan, the Immortal Island Master, and the other's eyes suddenly turned cold. A chilling murderous aura locked onto him. "It's not good to be too smart." Shui Hanyan looked at Yi Chenfeng coldly and said in a cold voice, "Smart people usually have short lives." "Really? Why don't I feel that way?" Although Shui Hanyan, the Immortal Island Master, and the others were very strong, Yi Chenfeng had the protection of the sword puppet. If he wanted to leave, they could not stop him. "What are you all standing there for? Capture him!" Shui Hanyan ordered. "Miss, my daughter," hearing Shui Hanyan's order, the Immortal Island Master's expression changed slightly and he quickly shouted. "She's just a troublemaker. If she dies, then so be it," Shui Hanyan said without a trace of emotion. "I didn't expect that you were the master behind the Immortal Island Master," Yi Chenfeng said with some surprise. In his heart, he wanted to retreat and did not want to continue entangling with these people from the Immortal Island. "Do it!" Shui Hanyan's eyes flashed with murderous intent as she ordered loudly. "Gotcha!" As soon as Shui Hanyan finished speaking, Yi Chenfeng crushed Zhen Mimi's head and threw the bloody corpse to the furious Immortal Island Master. He decisively ignited the golden rock bloodline, raised his speed to the peak, and flew out of the immortal island. 30/30709 Mobile Reading Site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark at the bottom to record this reading record. The next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 726. Where do you think you're going? When Shui Hanyan saw Yi Chunfeng suddenly flying out of the immortal island, she let out a delicate shout. A large amount of demonic aura emanated from her graceful body and pierced through the air. It wrapped around Yi Chunfeng like an octopus. Break! The sword puppet's luminous pearl-like eyes shot out rays of chilling light. It turned its hand into a sword and slashed down from the void. A sword light of more than 30 meters long slashed down and shattered the demonic aura attack released by Shui Hanyan. Dao Artifact, Heaven-Breaking Bell. The immortal island master was filled with grief and anger after his beloved daughter was killed. He unleashed a powerful Dao artifact. A pitch-black Dao artifact engraved with ancient decorations and totems emerged from his body. It carried a shocking momentum and slammed into the sword puppet. When the heaven-breaking bell hit the sword spirit puppet, an earth-shattering bell sound and destructive power immediately rang out, shaking the space within a 1-mile radius. The souls of more than 10 beast emperors from the immortal island trembled, and they felt like their heads were about to split open. Bang! Bang! Relying on its indestructible body, the sword puppet resisted the fatal blow of the heaven-breaking bell. It decisively burned a large amount of energy and poured it into its palms. It struck the heaven-breaking bell with a shocking seal. The tyrannical power shook the heaven-breaking bell and created an even more terrifying sound wave. It razed the bustling harbor to the ground and made the immortal island masters bleed from their 7 orifices as they desperately fled. Sword step. Facing the tidal wave of bell sound attack, Shui Hanyan quickly took a step forward. 60 sword Dao patterns appeared under her feet and tore apart the terrifying sound wave. She chased after Yi Chunfeng at an astonishing speed. Shui Hanyan was extremely fast, but the sword puppet's reaction was even faster. Its arms were like 2 rapidly dancing light wheels as it slashed rapidly. Rays of sword light that exceeded the speed of light pierced through the void and shrouded Shui Hanyan like a cracked sky screen. As the sword puppet's sword was too fast, the terrifying sword aura swallowed up all light. It was as if there was nothing left but the shadows of the sword. Sensing that the sword puppet's swift slash had completely locked onto her, a light sword that looked like a colorful butterfly appeared on her body. Immediately afterward, a terrifying yin-yang Dao intent gushed out from her graceful body and fused into the low-grade Dao artifact, the dancing butterfly sword. 6 strokes of yin-yang. Shui Hanyan abruptly turned around, and the dancing butterfly sword in her hand danced like a dancing butterfly. The terrifying yin and yang Dao will distorted the void and formed many demonic sword butterflies that cut off the sword puppet's attack. For a moment, the entire void was filled with broken sword shadows, riddling the void with holes. Dao treasure, hammer of madness. When the sword puppet ignored the remaining power of the sword aura and forcibly approached Shui Hanyan quickly opened her rosy lips, and a black hammer that kept growing bigger and bigger flew out of her mouth. The next moment, Shui Hanyan continuously poured her soul power into the hammer of madness, urging it to grow bigger and bigger. Under her control, it crazily smashed toward the sword puppet with endless hurricanes. Although the hammer of madness did not have an artifact spirit, its attack power was top-notch among Dao treasures. When the hammer smashed down, the chaotic space immediately collapsed. Facing the attack of the hammer of madness, the sword puppet still did not dodge. It continued to burn powerful energy and poured it into its arms to resist the hammer of madness head-on. It was not injured at all. Shui Hanyan knew the attack power of the hammer of madness. It could even raise mountains to the ground. However, when it continuously hit the sword puppet's body, it could not hurt it at all. This made her eyes bulge out, revealing a look of deep surprise. Not only was Shui Hanyan shocked by the indestructible defense of the sword puppet, but Immortal Island Master and the experts of Immortal Island also fell into a state of panic. Some of them did not dare to imagine what they had just seen. True Island Master, help me to entangle it quickly. I'll chase after Fengqin. If he escapes, it will cause a series of troubles. Shui Hanyan felt that her attack could not hurt the sword puppet for a while, so she decisively gave up the idea of destroying it. She wanted to chase after Yi Chunfeng with all her strength. Okay, leave him to me. Although Immortal Island Master smelled a strong dangerous aura from the sword puppet, he did not dare to disobey Shui Hanyan's order. He madly poured his soul power into the heaven-breaking bell, controlling it to grow bigger and bigger and cover the sword puppet. Whoosh! An ear-piercing sound rang out. Without waiting for the heaven-breaking bell to cover it, the sword puppet decisively burned its energy and flew away. Damn it! After Immortal Island Master failed to stop her, Shui Hanyan gritted her teeth in anger. However, Yi Chunfeng had too many secrets and knew too many things that he should not know. If they could not get rid of him, it would definitely affect their grand plan. Therefore, she and Immortal Island Master could only chase after him with all their strength. About half an hour later, Shui Hanyan, who was faster than Yi Chunfeng, managed to pull away from the Immortal Island Master. However, under the interference of the sword spirit puppet, whose energy was greatly burned, she was unable to catch up with Yi Chunfeng. Heavenly Treasure, 8 Light Chain. Shui Hanyan stepped forward with her sword and flashed in the void, dodging the sword puppet's sword. Then, she summoned a chain with 8 low-grade heavenly crystals embedded in it and wrapped it around the sword puppet, directly binding it. Oh. With its body bound, the sword puppet let out an inhuman roar. The energy in its body burned rapidly and poured into the 8 light chain, forcibly breaking the heavenly treasure 8 light chain. In the next moment, under Shui Hanyan and Immortal Island Master's shocked gaze, it quickly grabbed the 8 low-grade heavenly crystals and directly swallowed them into its stomach. Swallowing heavenly crystals? Could it be that Fengqin asked me to exchange for heavenly crystals for his clone? Seeing this scene, Shui Hanyan immediately guessed why Yi Chunfeng paid such a high price to exchange for 8 low-grade heavenly crystals. When I catch you, I will let you taste all my means. Shui Hanyan gritted her teeth and swore in her heart. She took advantage of the time when the sword puppet swallowed the 8 low-grade heavenly crystals to forcibly get rid of it. At this time, Immortal Island Master also caught up and controlled the heaven-breaking bell to attack the sword puppet to slow it down. Under the all-out attack of Immortal Island Master, the sword puppet's speed was affected to a certain extent. Shui Hanyan broke through the defense line with her amazing speed and slowly pulled the distance between them. After another day or so, Shui Hanyan, who was chasing relentlessly, was getting closer and closer. She could already see Yi Chunfeng flying at an extremely fast speed from afar. Damn it, how can this woman fly so fast? Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul sensed that Shui Hanyan was getting closer and closer. He immediately became anxious. According to this speed, Shui Hanyan would catch up to him in 3 days at most. Once she caught up, she and Immortal Island Master would join hands and bring him a fatal threat. Seems like I can only go to that place and try my luck. Yi Chunfeng, who had been trying to determine the direction, made up his mind and slightly changed his direction. He followed the map he snatched from the white-robed man and flew toward the life-forbidden zone hidden under the sea. About 2 days later, seeing that Shui Hanyan was getting closer to him, Yi Chunfeng followed the route imprinted in his mind and finally flew to the chaotic ocean where the life-forbidden zone was located. With a burst of speed, he broke through the rippling waves of the ocean and disappeared. P.S. I will post a picture of Shui Hanyan at night. Add your friends on WeChat, YLTY83 mobile reading site, Book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 727. 224958. The moment Yi Chunfeng broke into the sea, Shui Hanyan's powerful soul penetrated through the chaotic sea water and sensed that the energy at the bottom of the sea was somewhat abnormal, as if a great danger was hidden there. After a slight hesitation, she followed Yi Chunfeng into the turbulent sea surface and released her powerful soul to lock onto Yi Chunfeng, who was swimming towards the bottom of the sea. Not long after Shui Hanyan broke into the Forbidden Life Zone, the sword puppet also chased after Shui Hanyan to protect Yi Chunfeng. The immortal island master, whose speed was far inferior to the sword puppet, was left far behind and disappeared without a trace. The Forbidden Life Zone is hidden at the bottom of the trench. Yi Chunfeng was like a living fish. After diving for more than 6 hours, he finally reached the bottom of the sea where the energy was somewhat chaotic. From afar, he saw a mysterious and strange trench that extended for God knows how many miles. Buzz! At this time, a sword light filled with the power of Yin and Yang tore through the seawater and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng, wanting to cut him into pieces. Lightning flash! Yi Chunfeng's body flashed like a bolt of lightning, dodging the sword light slashed down by Shui Hanyan. With an extremely fast speed, he broke into the strange trench that hid the forbidden zone of life. There's something wrong with this trench. Approaching the trench, Shui Hanyan's powerful soul sensed a dense and dangerous aura in the trench. She felt inexplicably uneasy. Her beautiful eyebrows tightly knitted together. She was hesitating whether she should take the risk and rush into the trench to continue chasing Yi Chunfeng. Just as she was hesitating, the sword puppet chased after her. Its arms danced rapidly, interweaving a large number of sword shadows and attacking Shui Hanyan, forcing her to dodge again and again. No matter what's down there, you're dead for sure. Thinking of her life-saving trump card and the secret of Yi Chunfeng, Shui Hanyan stepped on the sword steps and cut through the chaotic sea water. She rushed into the trench and continued to take the risk to chase after Yi Chunfeng. At this time, the extremely fast Yi Chunfeng had killed more than 10 powerful sea beasts hidden in the trench and arrived at the bottom of the trench. He discovered the life-forbidden zone hidden in the inky black fog. Let's fight! His soul seeped into the boundless, mysterious, and unknown forbidden zone. Yi Chunfeng immediately smelled the scent of death, making him feel like he could be torn apart at any moment. However, Shui Hanyan had already sealed off his path of retreat, and he also intended to enter the so-called forbidden zone of life. He gritted his teeth and directly charged into the black fog, disappearing into the pitch-black depths of the trench. So dark, so quiet. After entering the Forbidden Life Zone, Yi Chunfeng immediately brought out 2 moonlight stones, wanting to illuminate the surrounding space. However, there was a mysterious power within the Forbidden Life Zone that devoured the light from the moonlight stones, plunging the entire space into eternal darkness. Crazy character. An indescribable pressure and fear surged into Yi Chunfeng's body, causing him to feel a strong sense of suffocation. Even breathing became difficult. When Yi Chunfeng threw out the 2 moonlight stones in his hand, they drew a beautiful arc in the Forbidden Life Zone. He wanted to seize this fleeting opportunity to see the truth of this Forbidden Life Zone. Suddenly, a black line surged into Yi Chunfeng's widened eyes. In an instant, a large amount of blood flowed out from Yi Chunfeng's eyes. It was so painful that his face was distorted. Life Tao Pattern, Repair. Enduring the intense pain from his eyes, Yi Chunfeng immediately covered his eyes with the Life Tao Pattern and quickly repaired the damage to his eyes. At this moment, Shui Hanyan rushed in with the dancing butterfly sword. She was also intimidated by the strange Forbidden Life Zone. Sensing that Shui Hanyan was chasing after him, Yi Chunfeng quickly adjusted his breathing and forcibly dispelled the fear in his heart. He completely released the power of the God-Eater brain and closed his eyes as he walked into the dark forbidden life zone. He had only taken 2 steps when Yi Chunfeng clearly felt a boundless pressure surging towards him. It was as if a majestic mountain had sunk into his heart, making him feel so uncomfortable that he couldn't speak. My soul force and Tao intent are all restricted. Just as Yi Chunfeng was about to release his powerful soul power to withstand the mountain-like pressure, he discovered to his surprise that the soul power and Tao intent in his body were restrained by a mysterious force in the life forbidden zone, and he couldn't use them at all. 9 transformations. God transformation, the power of 5 pearls. With his soul force and Tao intent restricted, Yi Chunfeng immediately fused the power of 5 pearls and increased his spirit body's strength to nearly 20 million kilograms, allowing him to withstand the terrifying pressure. Go to hell. Suddenly, a sharp and delicate voice sounded. Shui Hanyan, whose eyes were red and swollen, stabbed with the dancing butterfly sword. She wanted to pierce through the restricted Yi Chunfeng. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng's back was about to be pierced by the incomparably sharp dancing butterfly sword, Yi Chunfeng suddenly took a step 3 inches to the left according to the route deduced by the God-Eater brain. Then, he continuously retreated, turned left and turned right. Eerily, he appeared more than 100 meters away and dodged Shui Hanyan's sneak attack. And after her sneak attack failed, Shui Hanyan's face changed drastically. She was horrified to find that her soul force and Tao intent were sealed. No matter how she tried to mobilize them, there was no response. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Just as Shui Hanyan was surprised by the restriction on her, the sword puppet, whose energy was rapidly depleting, appeared. It continuously slashed out waves of astonishing sword light, which slashed at her body and forced her to dodge with all her strength in the space of heavy pressure. However, under the endless pressure, Shui Hanyan's dodging speed was greatly reduced. She could not dodge the continuous sword light attacks of the sword puppet at all. Seeing that she was about to be hit by 2 unstoppable sword lights, 2 incomparably hard fragments of Taoist treasures appeared in front of her and blocked the sword light attacks of the sword puppet. Female student's male teacher. Well, in such a short time, the sword puppet has consumed 1/5 of its energy. While the sword puppet was suppressing Shui Hanyan, its energy was also rapidly depleting. When the sword puppet had consumed 1/5 of its energy in a short time, Yi Chunfeng did not dare to continue consuming the energy of the sword puppet lest it ran out of energy and lose its combat ability. He decisively transmitted it into the universe realm. If you want to kill me, then come and chase me. Yi Chunfeng closed his eyes and used his soul to sense Shui Hanyan's position, who was suffering from the pressure. With the help of the God-Eater brain, he moved left and right, taking a circuitous route. When Yi Chunfeng suddenly disappeared in front of her eyes, the furious Shui Hanyan quickly took out a square ancient plate and poured a few drops of essence blood into it, controlling the ancient plate to calculate the direction of Yi Chunfeng. Soon, a twisted gray light appeared in the forbidden zone, guiding the way. Feng Chen, let's see where you can run to. Although the sword puppet was a great threat, Shui Hanyan, who had a life-saving trump card, was not too afraid. She gritted her teeth and looked at the direction where Yi Chunfeng disappeared. She followed the path calculated by the square ancient plate and chased after him. In addition to wanting to kill Yi Chunfeng, she also wanted to explore this forbidden zone. Judging from the dangers everywhere in this forbidden zone, there must be a great opportunity hidden here. If she could obtain it, she might have the opportunity to improve her strength and reach the level 6 Beast Emperor realm that she dreamed of. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 728. 22495815. Light. There's light up ahead. With the help of the God-Eater brain, Yi Chunfeng moved around in this pitch-black space for more than 2 hours and began to climb up a mysterious mountain. As he walked, Yi Chunfeng discovered that there were traces of light up ahead, and the mysterious energy that had been attacking his eyes was gradually fading away as he climbed higher and higher. Sword steps. The God-Eater brain calculated the path to the light, and Yi Chunfeng continued to use the sword steps, tearing through the increasingly powerful spatial pressure as he continued to climb. Finally, he charged into the light. Looking at the scene before him, Yi Chunfeng's eyes narrowed as he revealed a look of shock. Lush ancient trees were everywhere, and vines as thick as buckets wove together into a large net. Hanging waterfalls cascaded down from the heavens, and lush green grass made this place seem like a fairyland. But amidst the green mountains and clear waters, there were vast expanses of white bones. In the densely packed area, the white bones had piled up into a small mountain of bones, eerie and terrifying. And in this strange space, a 3-meter-tall skeleton stood straight on the ground like a steel spear. Its skeleton exuded a demonic aura, and it was the most eye-catching of all. In its hand was a giant blade forged from divine iron. After the passage of time, it had long since become rusty and covered in cracks. Eerie, this forbidden zone is too eerie. Seeing this eerie scene, Yi Chunfeng finally understood why the people of the Kirin Kingdom did not dare to trespass into this place to seek out great opportunities. Whoosh! However, Yi Chunfeng wasn't intimidated by the terror in front of him. He took a deep breath, and the power of the God-Eater brain radiated out completely. It seeped into this strange space, sensing the reality and danger. What kind of power is this? With the God-Eater brain's high-speed calculations, Yi Chunfeng sensed that this space was filled with a mysterious energy, and this energy was something he had never encountered before. Just as he was patiently analyzing this mysterious power, his sharp senses detected the appearance of danger. Without hesitation, he took a step forward and barged into this strange space. Boom! The moment Yi Chunfeng barged into this strange space, he felt an unimaginable pressure pressing down on him. It pressed down on his body, causing his legs to tremble and his feet to sink into the hard ground. As Yi Chunfeng endured this terrifying pressure and struggled to move forward, trying to increase the distance between him and Shui Hanyan, he was surprised to discover that his life force was being affected by the mysterious energy in the surrounding space. It began to flow away uncontrollably. The loss of life, this is the truly terrifying part of the life forbidden zone. In less than 10 breaths of time, Yi Chunfeng felt that he had lost nearly a year of his life. If this situation continued, he would soon exhaust his lifespan of 2,000 years and die of old age. Royal Academy of Languages, Mad Devil Hammer, smash for me. Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who was struggling to move forward, Shui Hanyan's eyes revealed a ruthless look. She summoned the Mad Devil Hammer and smashed it at Yi Chunfeng. However, when the Mad Demon Hammer broke into this strange space, it was immediately suppressed. Its attack was restricted and became incomparably slow. Its attack power was also greatly affected. When it smashed toward Yi Chunfeng, he easily dodged it. Fengchen, there's no way out for you. Just surrender obediently. Looking at the terrifying scene in front of her, Shui Hanyan was a little timid and did not dare to rush in blindly. She shouted at Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng looked coldly at Shui Hanyan's beautiful face and did not back down. Shui Hanyan, I hope you don't give me a chance, or I will let you have a taste of my means. Ancient compass, point the way. Looking at Yi Chunfeng withstanding the great spatial pressure and walking into the forest full of bones and slowly climbing the black ancient mountain, Shui Hanyan once again spat her blood essence into the ancient compass and controlled it to point the way. However, the ancient compass, which had always been accurate, suddenly stopped working when they entered the strange space. It could not point out the correct direction. Shui Hanyan had no choice but to grit her teeth and call back the Mad Devil Hammer. She took the risk and rushed in. How could it be? As soon as she entered the strange space, Shui Hanyan immediately felt that her life was draining away. Her face suddenly turned pale. What is this place? Shui Hanyan felt that this place was full of danger. If she felt uncomfortable, she would be doomed eternally. However, she was also a person who had experienced life and death situations. In addition, she was a level 5 combat beast emperor. She did not believe that she would die in front of Yi Chunfeng. As long as she could kill Yi Chunfeng and take everything from him, it would be worth it even if she could not get the treasures here. Although life's spiritual items were rare, with the foundation of the Octave Kingdom, they still had some. Therefore, after making her choice, she quickly chased after Yi Chunfeng while withstanding the increasing spatial pressure. The two of them moved forward one after another with difficulty. When Yi Chunfeng ignored the loss of his life and slowly walked to the top of the mountain, his body, which was comparable to a celestial tool, could not withstand the overwhelming spatial pressure and trembled violently. Shui Hanyan was also withstanding a pressure that was beyond her imagination. The celestial tool battle armor she was wearing was also deformed under the terrible spatial pressure. After more than 2 hours, when Yi Chunfeng had lost nearly 500 years of his life and saw the top of the black ancient mountain from afar, a majestic spatial pressure fiercely pressed on his body, directly crushing his legs into the hard ground. A large amount of blood flowed out from the surface of his cracked skin and dyed his body red. At this time, relying on her strength that was far superior to Yi Chunfeng, Shui Hanyan caught up with Yi Chunfeng. However, she was also suppressed by the sudden and terrible pressure. The celestial tool battle armor she was wearing was like the bark of an old tree, constantly cracking. Record of Chaotic World 1. Looking at Shui Hanyan's flushed face and sweating forehead, Yi Chunfeng suddenly revealed a strange smile and said, Shui Hanyan, I have already warned you, don't give me a chance to take revenge, but you didn't listen. Now I will let you know how stupid it was to chase after me. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng ignited his fiend god bloodline, and a power that suffocated Shui Hanyan burst out from his tall and straight body. In the blink of an eye, Yi Chunfeng transformed into his fiend god body, and his physical strength reached 50 million jin. He forcibly withstood the terrible spatial pressure and pulled his legs out of the hard ground. Step by step, he walked toward Shui Hanyan, who was pale with fright. What do you want? Seeing Yi Chunfeng walking towards her step by step, Shui Hanyan turned pale with fright and cried out in alarm. However, in the depths of her beautiful eyes, there was not a trace of panic. Obviously, with a life-saving trump card, she was not worried that Yi Chunfeng would suddenly kill her. Don't panic, I have always been a person who has a tender heart for the fairer sex. You are so beautiful, I won't harm you. Yi Chunfeng had already guessed that Shui Hanyan had a life-saving trump card. Once he launched a fatal blow to her, it would endanger her life and probably trigger her life-saving trump card. Once he was injured, he would be in more danger in this life-forbidden zone. However, being chased by Shui Hanyan again and again, Yi Chunfeng was also annoyed. He decided to take advantage of this opportunity to humiliate Shui Hanyan and let her have a taste of her own medicine. What do you want? Hearing Yi Chunfeng's words, Shui Hanyan inexplicably tensed up. What do you think I want? After saying that, Yi Chunfeng, who was under great pressure, appeared in front of Shui Hanyan. He stretched out his big hand full of power and forcibly tore apart Shui Hanyan's supreme-grade heaven-grade battle armor, revealing her wonderful figure in a tight black martial arts suit. Go to hell! Seeing Yi Chunfeng's intention, Shui Hanyan felt ashamed and angry. She roared angrily, took out her mad demon hammer, and smashed it at Yi Chunfeng at close range. Seeing Yi Chunfeng being hit by the mad demon hammer, the sword puppet suddenly appeared beside Yi Chunfeng and grabbed the slowly falling mad demon hammer, not giving it a chance to attack Yi Chunfeng. If you dare to insult me and sully my chastity, I swear I will crush your bones and scatter your ashes. Shui Hanyan's heart fell to the bottom when the sword puppet grabbed the mad demon hammer. She warned him in a desperate voice. At this time, she didn't dare to imagine her fate. I'm afraid you won't have the chance. Yi Chunfeng sneered and no longer hesitated. He grabbed her martial arts suit, which was made of special materials and could be crushed at any time, and tore it off. P.S. Midnight Mobile Reading Homebook Address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 729. 225174451. RIP. Shui Hanyan's collar was torn open by Yi Chunfeng's claw, revealing her sexy and symmetrical collarbone, white and tender neck, milk-like skin, and a black dudu made of special materials that exuded a unique fragrance. Her two round and smooth breasts were half hidden in the black dudu, giving people a kind of seductive feeling of hugging a pipa and covering half of her face. Kill me if you have the guts. Shui Hanyan tightly bit her alluring red lips, not allowing herself to cry. However, her bright red eyes shot out a gaze that was as sharp as a knife, giving off a feeling that she wanted to cut Yi Chunfeng into 1,000 pieces. You want to die? Not so fast. Although Shui Hanyan was a rare beauty, Yi Chunfeng showed no mercy to an enemy who wanted to kill him. He directly tore apart her clothes, revealing a flawless, spotless, and flawless body that could make any man go crazy for it. However, Shui Hanyan didn't say anything this time because she knew that words were useless at this moment. She could only silently close her eyes and wait for her fate to come. However, unconsciously, her slender legs were pressed together. Her seductive posture carried with it a fatal temptation that attacked Yi Chunfeng's mind. Worthy of being the heaven's proud daughter of a 9th-rank divine kingdom. Such a perfect body, who knows how many men would go crazy for it. Yi Chunfeng was not a saint. Facing such a perfect body, he also had an instinctive reaction. However, he didn't want to violate Shui Hanyan. He only wanted to humiliate her and extort some life-saving trump cards from her. Shui Hanyan, don't be too nervous, relax a bit. Looking at Shui Hanyan's undulating body, Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and suppressed the fire in his heart. He coldly said, "The truth is, I don't want to violate you. I only want to make a deal with you." A deal? What kind of deal do you want to make with me? Shui Hanyan opened her beautiful eyes, and a glimmer of hope appeared in her despairing heart. She looked at Yi Chunfeng and said. However, when she discovered that Yi Chunfeng's gaze had unconsciously drifted towards her faintly discernible twin peaks, she felt a strong sense of shame in her heart. She wished that she could blind Yi Chunfeng's eyes. Advertisement. I need life phase. Yi Chunfeng said. Even if you kill me, I don't have such a rare item, Shui Hanyan said. Forget it. Give me a few of your life-saving trump cards. Also, that mad devil hammer of yours is not bad. I like it very much. Give it to me as well. Yi Chunfeng demanded an exorbitant price. That's impossible. Just give up. Shui Hanyan didn't even think about it and flatly refused. Pa! A crisp slap rang out. Yi Chunfeng raised his hand and slapped Shui Hanyan's perky, round buttocks. Moan! Shui Hanyan's body stiffened. Her rosy little mouth unconsciously let out an extremely seductive moan. A faint blush appeared on her delicate cheeks, adding a hint of charm to her originally cold expression. Legend of the Great Desert. I didn't expect your body to be so sensitive. Yi Chunfeng's heart skipped a beat as he heard the seductive voice and saw Shui Hanyan's seductive expression. He held back his restless little heart and said, You! Feeling the numbness from her buttocks, Shui Hanyan was so ashamed that she wanted to crawl into a hole to hide her face. An indescribable sense of shame filled her heart, trampling her innate arrogance into pieces. The flames in her eyes seemed to want to melt Yi Chunfeng. Now, you should honestly make a deal with me, Yi Chunfeng ignored Shui Hanyan's angry eyes and said slowly, Feng Chen, kill me if you have the guts. If you don't kill me, I will definitely kill you in the future and tear you into pieces. Shui Hanyan was like an enraged little wild cat as she roared angrily. She didn't hesitate to use her final trump card and forcibly unsealed a mysterious power in her body. Dense water ripples appeared in the air. This power is a Tao spirit. There is a Tao spirit sealed in her body. Feeling the sudden awakening of a terrifying power in Shui Hanyan's body, Yi Chunfeng raised his brows and recognized that it was a Tao spirit condensed by a supreme expert of the heaven domain. Pa! Just as Shui Hanyan was forcibly using her Tao spirit power to resist the terrifying spatial pressure, Yi Chunfeng raised his hand and continuously slapped her round, bouncy buttocks. A strange electric current kept flowing from her sensitive buttocks to her entire body, causing her body to stiffen. It was as if there were caterpillars crawling in her body. It was so uncomfortable that she was about to collapse. Just as Shui Hanyan was tightly biting her lips and enduring with a painful, pleasurable, and resisting expression, she suddenly felt the clothes on her buttocks shatter. She clearly felt Yi Chunfeng's large hand touching her soft and bouncy skin. Her body trembled even more fiercely, and she immediately panicked. So smooth. Feeling the delicate sensation from his palm, Yi Chunfeng's forcibly suppressed heart began to stir again. Stop, quickly stop! Shui Hanyan shouted in alarm, afraid that Yi Chunfeng wouldn't be able to resist the temptation and would violate her. Shui Hanyan, if you don't behave and recklessly use your Tao spirit's power, don't blame me for being ruthless. Looking at Shui Hanyan, who was panting, her cheeks flushed, and her breasts rising and falling, she was so ashamed that she was on the verge of collapse. He coldly warned her. You know about Tao spirits. Shui Hanyan opened her eyes wide and asked while panting. You don't need to know that. You only need to know that if you don't obediently agree to my conditions, don't blame me for being impolite. I'm actually very happy to have an intimate relationship with a great beauty like you. Yi Chunfeng deliberately stretched out his hand to touch Shui Hanyan's slightly hot cheeks and said in a threatening tone, Taoist Temple, I can't give you the Mad Devil's Hammer, but I can give you 2 life-saving trump cards. Shui Hanyan gritted her teeth and glared at Yi Chunfeng, trying to suppress the shame and panic in her heart. What? You still want to bargain with me at a time like this? Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly, as if he was certain that he had Shui Hanyan under control. Feng Chen, you also know that I have a Tao spirit sealed in my body. If I don't hesitate to detonate my Tao spirit, even if you have heaven-defying abilities, you won't be able to survive. Shui Hanyan's face turned red as she threatened. Fine, I won't bully you anymore. Deal. Although Yi Chunfeng had the protection of the sword puppet, and even if Shui Hanyan detonated her Tao spirit, she might not be able to kill him. However, Yi Chunfeng wasn't sure if the Tao spirit's explosion would trigger even more terrifying restrictions in the Life Forbidden Zone. 2 life-saving trump cards were enough for Yi Chunfeng. After pondering for a while, he nodded and agreed. Take your dirty hands away from me. I'll give you a life-saving trump card. When Yi Chunfeng agreed, Shui Hanyan secretly heaved a sigh of relief and said coldly, Shui Hanyan, I hope you don't play any tricks on me. Otherwise, I'll definitely make you regret it. Yi Chunfeng pinched Shui Hanyan's soft and smooth cheeks and warned her. He then took 2 steps back. His seemingly intimate action made Shui Hanyan almost vomit blood. She really wanted to cut off his hand. This is a jade token, a life-saving amulet. Drip a drop of blood on it and keep it in your body. When you're in danger, it can withstand a fatal blow from a level 6 combat beast emperor. Shui Hanyan opened her mouth and a white jade token and a dark golden life-saving amulet appeared. She forcefully removed the blood contract and reluctantly gave these 2 precious life-saving trump cards to Yi Chunfeng. Not bad, not bad. Feeling the powerful energy contained in the jade token and life-saving amulet, Yi Chunfeng revealed a satisfied smile. He quickly dripped a drop of blood on them and kept them in his body. Now I've given you my life-saving trump cards. Shouldn't you fulfill your promise and let me go? Shui Hanyan endured the humiliation in her heart and glared at Yi Chunfeng. Of course, I've always kept my promises. But before I leave, you have to swear by the heavens that you won't cause trouble for me here. Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile as he looked at Shui Hanyan, who was about to go crazy with tears in her eyes. Okay, I swear. Shui Hanyan knew she had no other choice. She clenched her teeth and swore by the heavens. Good girl. After Shui Hanyan swore, Yi Chunfeng didn't humiliate her anymore. He kept the sword puppet in the Qiankuan mirror and exerted more than 50 million jin of strength to resist the pressure of the space and continued to climb the ancient Black Mountain. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 730. Rumble. Yi Chunfeng relied on the strength of the godly devil body to continuously tear through the pressure of space. After climbing for about an incense stick's worth of time, his powerful soul suddenly felt a shocking power erupting behind him, causing the entire life-forbidden zone to tremble violently. Tao Spirit Energy. Yi Chunfeng raised his eyebrows. He did not expect Shui Hanyan to be so crazy as to activate the sealed Tao Spirit Energy in her body at all costs. Once she could not control the Tao Spirit Energy, she would most likely explode and die from the explosion of the Tao Spirit Energy. Feeling that Shui Hanyan was beginning to catch up with him, Yi Chunfeng did not waste any time. He continued to bear the terrible pressure and climbed up the Black Mountain with difficulty. When he had lost 700 years of his lifespan and saw the Black Mountain peak, he was blocked by a dark golden restriction filled with tens of thousands of formation patterns. Space Swallower, break the restriction. As his lifespan continued to decrease, Yi Chunfeng did not dare to waste any time. He quickly summoned the Space Swallower and ordered it to quickly devour the dark golden restriction. After devouring a large amount of demonic beast blood, the Space Swallower continued to transform. It was infinitely close to a level 7 heavenly beast, and its ability to swallow space had greatly improved. However, it encountered a big problem when it tried to devour the dark golden restriction. No matter how hard it tried, it could not bite open the restriction. Master, this restriction is too strong. It contains a strong suppressive force that has greatly affected my Space Swallower ability. With my current strength, I'm afraid I can't break it open. The space-swallowing bug tried its best but still failed to break the dark golden restriction, so it transmitted its voice helplessly. Let me try using the Chaos Divine Wood to see if there is a way to weaken the restriction. After the Space Swallower failed to break the restriction, Yi Chunfeng immediately summoned the Chaos Divine Wood and controlled it to attack the dark golden restriction. However, with his soul power and Tao spirit sealed, Yi Chunfeng could not use the strongest attack of the Chaos Divine Wood at all. He controlled the Chaos Divine Wood to attack continuously, but it only stirred up ripples in the dark golden restriction. Just as Yi Chunfeng controlled the Chaos Divine Wood to attack again and again, forcefully weakening the dark golden restriction and creating conditions for the space swallowers to devour it, Shui Hanyan, who had fused with the power of Tao spirit and reached the limit of her strength, resisted the terrifying pressure and caught up with Yi Chunfeng. Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who was controlling the primal Chaos Divine Wood to attack, Shui Hanyan's beautiful eyes emitted a dense killing intent as she thought of the humiliating scene just now. However, when she thought of the oath Yi Chunfeng had forced her to swear and the threat of the sword puppet, Shui Hanyan had no choice but to suppress the anger and killing intent in her heart. She didn't take the initiative to attack. Mad Devil Hammer, break for me! Shui Hanyan poured her Tao spirit energy into the mad devil hammer, controlling it to grow bigger and bigger. It carried the power of heaven and earth as it fiercely smashed into the dark golden seal. She wanted to rely on her absolute offensive power to forcefully break it. However, the dark golden seal that shrouded the peak of the mountain was too terrifying. No matter how the mad demon hammer attacked, it was unable to break through. Shui Hanyan, why don't we make another deal? Yi Chunfeng felt that Shui Hanyan had really managed to control the Tao spirit and was able to borrow the Tao spirit's power. He had an idea and shouted at Shui Hanyan. Feng Chen, don't even think about it. I will never trade with a despicable person like you again. Shui Hanyan angrily glared at Yi Chunfeng and coldly refused. Shui Hanyan, do you know where this place is? Yi Chunfeng looked at Shui Hanyan's cold face and slowly said, I can tell you clearly that this is a life-forbidden zone. If we stay here for one more second, we will lose a bit of our lives. If you don't want to die, you better cooperate with me. Life-forbidden zone. Shui Hanyan's beautiful brows tightly knitted together. Although she wanted nothing more than to cut Yi Chunfeng into 1,000 pieces, she felt that Yi Chunfeng was not scaring her. With her strength alone, it was indeed very difficult to break through the dark golden seal. Furthermore, she was even more unwilling to leave just like that. Feeling helpless, she bit her wet lips and looked coldly at Yi Chunfeng. She said, If we were to work together, how confident are you in breaking this restriction? At least more than you randomly attacking by yourself. Yi Chunfeng lightly said, causing Shui Hanyan to want to attack. Okay, I will believe you this time. What do you want me to do? Shui Hanyan took a few deep breaths to suppress the anger in her heart and coldly asked. You only need to pour the power of your Tao spirit into my little tree and leave the rest to me. Yi Chunfeng said. What? This little tree can break this seal? Shui Hanyan suspiciously asked. She didn't find anything special about the primal chaos divine tree. Whether it will succeed or not, we will know after trying. Yi Chunfeng lightly said. I hope you are not lying to me. Shui Hanyan took a deep breath. She controlled the power of her Tao spirit to gush out of her body and pour it into the primal chaos divine tree like a long river. Buzz, buzz. After integrating a large amount of Tao spirit power, the primal chaos divine tree immediately emitted a 5-colored divine light, illuminating the entire space in a myriad of colors. It collided with the dark golden seal with great force. Ka-cha-cha! Under the full attack of the primal chaos divine tree, the indestructible dark golden seal fluctuated violently, causing the space to distort. The two powerful forces collided for 3 breaths. Crisscrossing cracks instantly covered the entire seal. What kind of treasure is this? Witnessing the scene of the primal chaos divine tree breaking the dark golden seal, Shui Hanyan's eyes widened. Her beautiful eyes revealed a strong sense of surprise. She was shocked by the attack power of the primal chaos divine tree. Continue to release the power of Tao spirit. Don't stop. Yi Chunfeng shouted at Shui Hanyan. Then, he ordered the space swallowers to devour the seal. Under the attack of the primal chaos divine tree, the power of the dark golden seal was greatly affected. The space swallowers endured the violent spatial fluctuations. They revealed their sharp teeth and quickly devoured the seal that was full of cracks. What kind of bug is this? Witnessing the space swallowers devouring the seal, Shui Hanyan was shocked again. She felt that she could not see through Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng's various means were beyond her imagination. After about 15 minutes, under the frenzied attack of the primal chaos divine tree and the space swallowers, a gap that was half the height of a person appeared in the cracked space seal. Whoosh! As soon as the spatial gap appeared, Shui Hanyan didn't hesitate and rushed into it before Yi Chunfeng, disappearing from sight. Let's go! Yi Chunfeng kept the primal chaos divine tree in his body and sent the space swallowers into the universe realm. He passed through the gap with the sword puppet and arrived at the top of the life-forbidden zone. Starry sky. After climbing to the top of the life-forbidden zone, Yi Chunfeng saw a strange starry sky above his head. There were a lot of bones piled up on the ground. Among them, there were many beast bones that were more than 1,000 meters long scattered in the space. Obviously, these demonic beasts were extremely terrifying when they were alive. Well, the spatial pressure has weakened, but the corrosive power of life has increased. Yi Chunfeng stood in silence for a while and found that the speed of life loss was even faster. Well, that is, when Yi Chunfeng looked around at the unfamiliar environment, he suddenly discovered that there were 5 strange grasses that were more than half a meter tall, completely white, and looked like skeletons growing on top of the corpses of the demonic beasts. In the center of the strange grasses, there was a fruit that was as red as the sun and covered in green lines. When Yi Chunfeng stared at the red fruit formed by the strange grasses, he immediately felt the powerful life force in the fruit. The fruit of life. Yi Chunfeng raised his eyebrows. He did not expect that there were 5 fruits of life that he needed the most at the top of the life-forbidden zone. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 731. Swish. Swish. Looking at the fruits of life in front of them, Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan moved at the same time. They tore through the pressure in the air and rushed towards the 5 fruits of life at their fastest speed, wanting to snatch them. Shush. When Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan leaped onto the thick pile of bones, an ear-piercing sound of friction suddenly rang out and entered their ears. Hundreds of half-a-meter-long ants with 2 heads and scythe-like teeth crawled out of the huge cracks in the bones. They flapped their thin wings, covering the sky and covering the earth as they swept towards Yi Chunfeng and Yuan Tiexin. 2-headed spirit-devouring ants. Looking at the rapidly approaching 2-headed bone-white ants, Shui Hanyan, who had read a lot of ancient books, immediately recognized them. They were mutated ants that liked to feed on living creatures and had immense strength, 2-headed spirit-devouring ant. From the aura that these 2-headed spirit-devouring ants were emitting, almost all of them had reached the level of Tier 7 heavenly beasts. There were even a small number of ant kings that had reached the level of Tier 8 heavenly beasts. This brought a certain amount of trouble to the duo who couldn't use soul power and Tao intent. Sword puppet, kill your way over and use all your strength to pluck the fruits of life. The fruits of life were too important. Yi Chunfeng immediately handed the Emperor Sky sword to the sword puppet and ordered it to use all its strength to pluck the fruits of life. As long as they plucked the fruits of life, Yi Chunfeng would be able to recover his depleted lifespan. At the crucial moment, he would be able to execute the life-soul technique and greatly increase his strength. After receiving Yi Chunfeng's order, the sword puppet wielded the Emperor Sky sword and charged into the swarm of 2-headed spirit-devouring ants. It quickly waved the Emperor Sky sword in its hand and created dense sword shadows to kill the 2-headed spirit-devouring ants. It quickly approached the 5 fruits of life that were growing on the piles of bones. After being attacked by the sword puppet, the 2-headed spirit-devouring ants' heads constantly spewed out the power of death, bombarding the sword puppet with astonishing power. However, the sword puppet's defense was too terrifying. It ignored the 2-headed spirit-devouring ants' attacks and quickly opened up a bloody path. Mad Devil Hammer, break for me! When Shui Hanyan saw the sword puppet approaching a fruit of life, she did not hesitate to pour the power of her Tao spirit into the crazy devil hammer. She controlled the crazy devil hammer to become bigger and bigger, smashing the 2-headed spirit-devouring ants into meat paste one after another. She then competed with the sword puppet for the fruit of life. While the sword puppet and Shui Hanyan were fighting fiercely against the 2-headed spirit-devouring ants, Yi Chunfeng was also surrounded by a large number of spirit-devouring ants. However, after transforming into his fiend god body, Yi Chunfeng's physical strength had reached 50 million jin, and his physical defense was infinitely close to that of a Dao treasure. Relying on his strong body, he withstood the two-headed spirit-devouring ant's two-headed attack. He quickly waved his fists, which were full of explosive power, and constantly smashed the spirit-devouring ants that approached him, causing a large amount of blood to spurt out. At this time, the sword puppet ignored the attacks of the two-headed spirit-devouring ants and killed a bloody path. When it was about to pick up the fruit of life, it was suddenly attacked by the bone-white strange grass. A large number of bony leaves covered in sharp spikes coiled around the sword puppet like agile snakes, trying to bind it. An inhuman roar was released from the sword puppet's mouth. It burned a large amount of energy, forcibly tore apart the bondage of the bony leaves, and picked up the fruit of life, which had been condensed by the bone-white strange grass after absorbing a large amount of life force. At this time, Shui Hanyan, who had released the power of Tao Spirit, also approached a bone-white strange grass. She controlled two incomparably sharp fragments of a Dao treasure to cut through the oncoming bony leaves, and picked up an invaluable fruit of life. When Shui Hanyan picked up the second fruit of life at an astonishing speed, she found that the rest of the fruits of life had been picked up by the sword puppet, who had an invincible defense. She gritted her teeth in hatred, but there was nothing she could do. Sword puppet, kill the two-headed spirit-devouring ants quickly. After the sword puppet successfully picked up 3 fruits of life, Yi Chunfeng, who was surrounded by a dense number of two-headed spirit-devouring ants, immediately ordered with his mind power. Swish, swish, swish. Upon receiving Yi Chunfeng's order, the sword puppet quickly swung the Emperor's celestial sword and rushed back, cooperating with Yi Chunfeng to kill the two-headed spirit-devouring ants. Soon, the entire peak of the Forbidden Zone was covered with the remains of the two-headed spirit-devouring ant. However, when the blood flowing in the bodies of the two-headed spirit-devouring ants seeped into the pile of white bones, it was swallowed up by a mysterious force and disappeared. Strange, why don't these two-headed spirit-devouring ants have demon cores? When Yi Chunfeng and the sword puppet worked together to kill hundreds of two-headed spirit-devouring ants, Yi Chunfeng was surprised to find that no matter what level the spirit-devouring ants were, there was no demon core in their bodies. At this time, Shui Hanyan made use of Yi Chunfeng to kill the two-headed spirit-devouring ants and disappeared into the thick pile of white bones. She went to the end of the Forbidden Zone alone to seek the great opportunity hidden here. Sword puppet, let's go. Yi Chunfeng didn't study why the two-headed spirit-devouring ants couldn't condense their demon cores. Withstanding the spatial pressure, he quickly went to the end of the Forbidden Zone with the sword puppet. Sounds of battle. Yi Chunfeng and the sword puppet worked together and continuously broke the powerful restrictions hidden in the Forbidden Zone. When they arrived at the end of the Forbidden Zone, they found Shui Hanyan's figure. At this time, she was in a terrifying sword formation, fighting with 4 extremely sharp light swords that seemed to have life and were flashing at an extremely fast speed. Facing the tide-like attack of the 4 light swords, Shui Hanyan, who couldn't use her soul power and Dao will, was in danger. She couldn't withstand the attacks of the 4 light swords just by relying on the Mad Devil Hammer and the power of Dao Spirit. Low-grade Dao artifact. These 4 light swords are all low-grade Dao artifacts. Feeling the power of the 4 light swords, Yi Chunfeng immediately determined that these 4 light swords were all low-grade Dao artifacts. And the 4 light swords complemented each other, interweaving sword light that was comparable to a mid-grade Dao artifact. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and ask your avatar to come help. If something happens to me, you can forget about getting the great opportunity here. Unable to withstand the attacks of the 4 light swords, Shui Hanyan, who was retreating, shouted at Yi Chunfeng. I can help, but after this matter is done, I want 3 of these 4 swords. Yi Chunfeng demanded an exorbitant price. Shui Hanyan didn't expect that Yi Chunfeng would still dare to blackmail her at this time. She was so angry that her liver trembled. but trapped in the sword formation, she couldn't escape in a short time. If Yi Chunfeng didn't help, not only would she not get a single light sword, but she would also waste a precious life-saving trump card. In desperation, Shui Hanyan could only grit her teeth and agree to Yi Chunfeng's unreasonable request. Sword puppet light sword. Yi Chunfeng smiled slightly and immediately ordered the sword puppet to charge into the sword formation with the Emperor Heaven sword. Together with Shui Hanyan, they attacked the 4 light swords that complemented each other with all their might. With the help of the sword puppet, the pressure on Shui Hanyan was greatly reduced. And with the sword puppet resisting with all its might, her attacking advantage was also gradually stimulated. After more than 2 hours, Shui Hanyan and the sword puppet worked together and finally wiped out the remnant soul in one of the light swords, greatly weakening the sword formation's power. With the sword formation's power weakened, Shui Hanyan and the sword puppet continued to attack and wiped out the remnant soul in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th light swords, successfully breaking the sword formation hidden in the life-forbidden zone. With the sword formation broken, Yi Chunfeng immediately condensed the Sky Demon demonic rope and wrapped it around the 3 low-grade Dao artifact light swords before keeping them in the universal mirror. At this moment, the restriction that shrouded the starry sky gradually disappeared as the sword formation was broken. A light wall that was hundreds of feet tall and covered by layers of black fog appeared in front of them. The life-forbidden zone was filled with powerful spatial suppression and the mysterious power that restricted their soul power Dao intent. It was released by this light wall. Mobile reading website, book address. For your convenience, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 732. Suppressing Dao Wall, Sacred Artifact Spirit, Suppressing Dao Wall. Looking at the wall of light that suddenly appeared in front of him, Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul clearly felt that the wall of light was filled with an extremely terrifying suppressive force, suppressing the entire forbidden zone. Copy address access 7777772E76, 6F6474772E636F6D. In addition to the suppressive force, Yi Chunfeng also sensed a terrifying sealing force within the barrier. This suppressing Dao wall is a bit strange. Yi Chunfeng frowned as he looked at the suppressing Dao wall, feeling an inexplicable sense of unease. The existence of this life-forbidden zone shouldn't be related to this suppressing Dao wall, right? Just as Yi Chunfeng closed his eyes and controlled the power of the God-Eater brain to penetrate the suppressing Dao wall, Shui Hanyan suddenly poured Dao spirit power into the Mad Devil Hammer and bombarded the suppressing Dao wall. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out. Under the attack of the Mad Devil Hammer, the suppressing Dao wall emitted a heaven-shaking explosion. Boundless suppressive force poured out from the suppressing Dao wall and ruthlessly pressed down on Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan. Stop, quickly stop. Yi Chunfeng didn't expect Shui Hanyan to be so bold as to control the Mad Devil Hammer to attack without even sensing the danger. He opened his eyes and shouted at her. Shui Hanyan ignored Yi Chunfeng's shout. While enduring the suffocating pressure, she controlled the Mad Devil Hammer to continue attacking. Shui Hanyan, I told you to stop, didn't you hear me? Yi Chunfeng's expression changed slightly when he saw a small crack appear on the suppressive treasure after being attacked by the Mad Devil's hammer. He quickly appeared beside Shui Hanyan, wanting to stop her crazy actions. Feng Chen, who do you think you are? Why should I listen to you? Also, you'd better not speak to me with a commanding tone in the future. If I can't control the anger in my heart, I might kill you. Shui Hanyan glared at Yi Chunfeng, who humiliated her and warned him while gnashing her teeth. If it weren't for the heavenly Dao oath, Shui Hanyan wouldn't have been able to control her anger and would have attacked Yi Chunfeng. I'm not ordering you. Rather, it's very likely that this wall is suppressing something extremely ominous. Once it's released, I'm afraid both our lives will be in danger, Yi Chunfeng said solemnly as he looked at Shui Hanyan's frosty expression. Of course, I know that there are dangerous things suppressed here, but we are already here. Are we going to give up? Shui Hanyan said coldly. If you are afraid, you can leave, no one will stop you. Yi Chunfeng didn't expect Shui Hanyan to be so stubborn. However, from her tone, he guessed that she still had a heaven-defying life-saving trump card. Shui Hanyan's words also moved Yi Chunfeng. After pondering for a moment, he didn't say anything else. He silently watched Shui Hanyan control the mad devil hammer to attack the suppressing Dao wall. Under Shui Hanyan's relentless attacks, more and more cracks appeared on the suppressing Dao wall. The suppressing force became stronger and stronger. Even with Yi Chunfeng's Dao treasure body, he couldn't withstand it. The pressure on Shui Hanyan was even greater. A trace of sickly white color appeared on her beautiful face. Dao spirit force was rapidly released and poured into her body. Yes, Shui Hanyan's life force is rapidly draining. Could it be that she is using life force to control Dao spirit force? Yi Chunfeng raised his eyebrows in shock when he felt Shui Hanyan's life force flowing out of her body. Feng Chen, are you really going to just stand by and watch? Although Shui Hanyan didn't want to use Yi Chunfeng's power, the suppressing force from the suppressing light wall was too terrifying. It was constantly destroying her body. If not for the fact that her Dao spirit was strong enough, her body would have collapsed long ago. Sword puppet attack. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and poured 1,000,000 supreme soul crystals into the sword puppet. He ordered the sword puppet to burn its powerful energy. Holding the Emperor Heaven's sword, he tore apart the layers of suppressing force and fiercely attacked the suppressing Dao wall. With the help of the sword puppet, the suppressing Dao wall cracked faster and faster. The God-Eater brain's high speed radiated soul power through the cracks and seeped into the suppressing Dao wall, sensing the situation inside. What is this? When the rapidly amplified soul power passed through several restrictions, Yi Chunfeng sensed 18 chains made of a special material in the wall, and at the center of the chains was an extremely terrifying existence. Roar! 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 Sensing the power radiated by the God-Eater brain, the terrifying existence restrained by the 18 chains suddenly became restless. The terrifying power struck the 18 chains, causing the entire suppressing light wall to tremble. The spirit of the sacred artifact. This suppressing Dao wall is the spirit of the sacred artifact. While the suppressing Dao wall was trembling, the God-Eater brain suddenly transmitted an important message to Yi Chunfeng's mind. Yi Chunfeng's heart skipped a beat. The sacred artifact was above the Dao artifact. It was only a legend in the fighting spirit continent. It was said that the sacred artifact had the power to destroy heaven and earth. When its power reached the extreme, it could tear open the sea and pierce through mountains and rivers. The spirit of the sacred artifact was the source of the sacred artifact's power. It could be said that the power of the sacred artifact was closely related to the spirit of the sacred artifact. Shui Hanyan, stop immediately. If I am not wrong, this suppressing Dao wall is the spirit of the sacred artifact. Thinking about how terrifying the spirit of the sacred artifact was, Yi Chunfeng quickly shouted at Shui Hanyan. He didn't doubt that once the spirit of the sacred artifact broke free, it would be a fatal threat to him. The spirit of the sacred artifact. Hearing Yi Chunfeng's shout, Shui Hanyan's face paled, revealing a trace of delicate beauty. Her expression also changed. Although she had guessed that the opportunity inside the Dao wall was no small matter, she didn't expect it to be the spirit of the sacred artifact. Although the 8 gods divine nation was a 9 gods nation with a heritage of millions of years, it didn't have a single sacred artifact. It was enough to show how precious the spirit of the sacred artifact was. Feng Chen, are you sure the spirit of the sacred artifact is inside? Shui Hanyan asked in a dignified tone. I'm sure. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said without hesitation, the spirit of the sacred artifact is not something you and I can deal with. I suggest we leave this place first. When we are strong enough in the future, we will come back here and think of a way to subdue it. Give up, feeling the power surging in the Dao wall becoming more and more terrifying. Shui Hanyan also smelled the thick threat of death. Helplessly, she bit her wet lips and could only give up. Aolo, just as Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan were about to leave this dangerous place, an inhuman roar came from the broken Dao wall, shattering the Dao wall that was full of cracks. The piercing sound penetrated their ears, shaking their souls. A large amount of blood flowed out from their ears, staining them with blood. Not good, the spirit of the sacred artifact is about to break free. We have to leave quickly, or our lives will be in danger. As the Dao wall shattered, the God-Eater brain, which was deducing at a high speed, felt that the 18 chains were beginning to crack. Yi Chunfeng didn't hesitate to raise the power of his body to the peak. He tore apart the heavy pressure and fled down the forbidden mountain of life. Just as Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan were withstanding the violent spatial pressure and running at top speed, the piles of bones on the forbidden mountain of life shattered one after another, forming a terrible power of death that merged into the entire void. The next moment, an unimaginable restrictive power shrouded the entire forbidden mountain of life, trapping Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan on the mountain peak, unable to leave. 30/30709 Mobile Reading Home. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 733. Chaos Divine Wood. Trapped at the peak of the Forbidden Mountain, Yi Chunfeng did not hesitate to summon the Chaos Divine Wood. He controlled the Chaos Divine Wood to crash into the terrifying restriction that shrouded the peak. The suppression light wall was shattered. Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan could already use their soul power and Dao intent. However, when the Chaos Divine Wood crashed into the restriction, it could not shake the restriction at all. There was not even a ripple. Mad Demon Hammer break. While Yi Chunfeng controlled the Chaos Divine Wood to attack, Shui Hanyan poured her Dao spirit and soul power into the Mad Demon Hammer. She controlled the Mad Demon Hammer to grow bigger and bigger. It carried the momentum of heaven and earth to attack the restriction. Under the fierce attacks of the Chaos Divine Wood and the Mad Demon Hammer, the restriction that imprisoned the void did not budge. The two used all their skills but still could not shake it. Shui Hanyan, quickly pour your Dao spirit energy into my small tree. Let's attack together. Feeling that the 18 chains were cracking more and more, and the terrifying whistling sound was getting louder and louder, Yi Chunfeng immediately shouted at Shui Hanyan. At this critical moment, Shui Hanyan did not hesitate. She kept the Mad Demon Hammer and poured her Dao spirit energy into the Chaos Divine Wood without reservation. She stimulated the power of the Chaos Divine Wood to attack the void restriction with all her might. After integrating Yi Chunfeng's soul power and Shui Hanyan's Dao spirit energy, the Chaos Divine Wood shone with a dazzling 5-colored divine light. With shocking destructive power, it crashed into the void restriction fiercely. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Ripples appeared on the impregnable spatial barrier after receiving the full-powered attack from the chaotic divine wood. It caused ripples to appear in the space, but it did not show any signs of shattering. Then, under the full control of Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan, the Chaos Divine Wood continued to attack. It lashed at the void restriction fiercely, trying its best to weaken the power of the void restriction. Space Swallower, it's up to you. Use all your strength to devour the restriction. While the Chaos Divine Wood was weakening the void restriction, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Space Swallower and ordered it to use all its strength to devour the restriction. However, the void restriction on the peak of the Forbidden Mountain was too terrifying. Even if the Chaos Divine Wood kept weakening the restriction, the Space Swallower could not break it in a short time. Kachacha, at this moment, a series of shattering sounds rang out. The 18 severely damaged chains were shattered, and the spirit of the sacred artifact that had been sealed for God knows how many years had been freed. A ball of white light shot out from the shattered wall of suppression, releasing an endless amount of energy into the void, stirring up the entire void, causing a large area of distortion to appear. Whoosh! Whoosh! Just as the artifact's spirit was unleashing its terrifying power in the air, void chains strangely appeared one after another. They were like mad dragons, entangling the white silhouette that had just broken free. Break! When the void chains wrapped around the artifact's spirit, a wild and tyrannical energy leaked out from the artifact's spirit. It poured into the void chains and forcibly shattered them. As the sacred artifact's spirit attacked the void chains, a large amount of death energy surged out of the life-forbidden zone and fused into the void chains, repairing the cracks that the sacred artifact's spirit had created. Shui Hanyan, we have no way out. If we want to live, we can only take the opportunity when the sacred artifact's spirit is bound by the void chains and severely injure it. Otherwise, both of us will die here. The void restriction was too powerful. The space swallower, which was only a level 6 heavenly beast, could not penetrate it. Yi Chunfeng had no choice but to summon the Chaos Divine Wood back, preparing to use its power to take the risk and attack the sacred artifact spirit. All right. Shui Hanyan took a deep breath and continued to channel the power of her doctrine spirit into the Chaos Divine Wood. Together with Yi Chunfeng, she controlled the Chaos Divine Wood to attack the sacred artifact spirit that was roaring angrily and struggling violently. Lowly human, when I am free, I will tear you into pieces. After being attacked continuously by the Chaos Divine Wood, the sacred artifact spirit became even angrier. It spoke human language and roared furiously. Chaos Divine Wood, devour! Yi Chunfeng ignored the threat of the sacred artifact spirit. He forced out several mouthfuls of blood essence and spat it into the Chaos Divine Wood. He tried his best to increase the power of the Chaos Divine Wood. He extended tens of thousands of 5-colored roots and penetrated the sacred artifact spirit to devour its energy. The 5-colored roots of the Chaos Divine Wood were extremely tough, but the destructive power of the sacred artifact spirit was even more terrifying. When the dense 5-colored roots broke into the sacred artifact spirit, they were immediately crushed by the surging energy in its body. They could not devour the energy contained in the sacred artifact spirit at all. Shui Hanyan, how many heaven crystals do you have? Since the Chaos Divine Wood could not devour the sacred artifact spirit, Yi Chunfeng immediately turned his head to look at Shui Hanyan, who had consumed a lot of energy and was slightly pale. I still have 13 low-grade heaven crystals. Shui Hanyan, who was under great pressure, clenched her teeth and said, Give them all to me. Yi Chunfeng said in an irresistible manner. At the moment of life and death, Shui Hanyan could not care about anything else. She immediately threw 13 precious low-grade heaven crystals to Yi Chunfeng. Sword puppet, devour them. As the 13 low-grade heaven crystals flew over, Yi Chunfeng immediately ordered the sword puppet to fuse them into its body, increasing its energy to the greatest extent. He then wielded the Emperor's celestial sword and attacked the sacred artifact spirit. Die! As the sword puppet approached, the sacred artifact spirit immediately opened its mouth. A white bolt of lightning shot out from its mouth and attacked the sword puppet at close range. Facing the sacred artifact spirit's attack head-on, the sword puppet's indestructible body was still unaffected. However, the energy in its body was rapidly depleting. Just a single attack had depleted nearly 1/10 of the sword puppet's energy. Withstanding the sacred artifact spirit's attack, the sword puppet wielded the Emperor's celestial sword and interweaved streaks of shocking sword light. It was stacked with supreme divine might and fiercely slashed at the sacred artifact spirit. It wanted to seize the opportunity when the sacred artifact spirit was bound by the void chains to severely injure it. Break for me. After being continuously attacked by the sword puppet and the primal chaos divine wood, the sacred artifact spirit was enraged. A shocking energy was released from its body. It was like an erupting volcano, shattering the void chains and forcing the sword puppet and the primal chaos divine wood to retreat. Even Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan, who were far away, were affected. The blood and qi in their bodies churned violently as they spat out a mouthful of blood. Strong, too strong. Just the aftershocks alone are enough to injure me severely. If I were to face the attack head-on, I would definitely be smashed into pieces and destroyed in both body and soul. Even the 2 life-saving trump cards that I extorted from Shui Hanyan would not be able to save me. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and suppressed the surging blood and qi in his body as he muttered with lingering fear. Swish, swish, swish. The dozen or so spatial chains were shattered by the artifact spirit's full-powered attack. Another dozen or so spatial chains appeared in the chaotic space, attacking the artifact spirit like a hot knife through butter. They did not give the artifact spirit a chance to break free. The sword puppet, which had depleted a third of its energy, and the primal chaos divine wood, which was constantly fusing with soul power and Tao spirit power, approached the sacred artifact spirit once again and continued to attack it, forcefully weakening its energy. No one can trap me anymore. Destroy them all. In its rage, the sacred artifact spirit continued to release destructive energy to attack the void chains, the sword puppet, and the primal chaos divine wood. The terrifying energy tore countless cracks in the space, as if the entire space was about to collapse. Under the impact of the destructive storm, Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan felt as if they were facing a turbulent sea. They felt insignificant and helpless, as if they would be torn apart by this energy at any time. They desperately retreated. Just as Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan retreated to the edge of the void restriction and hid under a hard rock, the sacred artifact spirit erupted with destructive energy for the 3rd time. In an instant, it exhausted the energy in the sword puppet's body and sent it and the primal chaos divine wood flying, breaking more than 10 void chains. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 734. It's broken. The void chains can't restrain it. Is this going to be my grave? I'm going to die with this hateful guy. Shui Hanyan had never felt such despair and fear before. However, the artifact's spirit was just too terrifying, beyond her imagination. She felt a deep sense of powerlessness, and even blamed herself for her recklessness. Yi Chunfeng's feelings were similar to hers. Facing an undefeatable opponent, he simply couldn't think of a good way to escape. Just as the enraged artifact spirit shattered the void chains and flew towards Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan, wanting to kill them and leave the forbidden zone, a dozen more void chains appeared in the chaotic void. They attacked it like a long dragon, binding it in the air again. Damn it! I have no enmity with you. Why do you insist on trapping me to death? What good does it do for you? Bound by the void chains again, the artifact's spirit was enraged. It roared loudly at the chaotic void. The terrifying sound waves spread everywhere, shaking Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan's souls. They were in great pain. Let's go and hide over there. The artifact's spirit was just too terrifying. Yi Chunfeng didn't dare to get too close to it. He hurriedly flew up with Shui Hanyan, trying to get as far away as possible to avoid being killed by its destructive power. While Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan were hiding, the artifact's spirit once again unleashed its destructive power, attacking the void chains. The terrifying energy was like the fury of a god, shaking the earth and shaking the mountains. The terrifying momentum made people's minds tremble. A large area of the mountain peak was razed to the ground. The artifact spirit's continuous eruption of energy could be described as earth-shaking, destroying everything. However, the void chains in the Forbidden Zone seemed to be inexhaustible. Every time they were shattered, new chains would be born to bind the artifact spirit, not giving it a chance to escape. Coupled with the suppressive power in the air, the artifact spirit's resistance gradually weakened. Terrifying void chains pierced through the artifact spirit's body, firmly binding it in the air. Good chance. Yi Chunfeng drank all of the remaining heavenly fate water to recover his expended soul force. He turned to Shui Hanyan and said, Shui Hanyan, this is our best chance to heavily injure the artifact spirit. This is also our only chance to survive. Fuse your strongest power into the Chaos Divine Wood. We'll go all out. I know what to do. Shui Hanyan bit her lips and nodded. She continued to burn her lifespan and forcibly poured her Tao spirit and soul power into the Chaos Divine Wood. At the same time, Yi Chunfeng also spat out several mouthfuls of blood essence into the Chaos Divine Wood to stimulate its power. Then, he burned his Fiend God bloodline and Dragon bloodline at the same time and poured them into the Chaos Divine Wood. After fusing with the energy that Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan had poured into it, the Chaos Divine Wood once again shone with a 5-colored divine light. Under the control of Yi Chunfeng's will, it flew towards the sacred artifact's spirit that was firmly imprisoned in midair. In the next moment, dense 5-colored roots extended and attacked the artifact's spirit with irresistible force. They pierced into the artifact spirit's body and devoured its energy. Puny humans, I'll destroy you first. After being devoured by the Chaos Divine Wood, the artifact spirit became irritable. It ignored the damage to its body and forcefully tore apart the 5-colored root. It spat out white lightning and attacked Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan in the distance. Dodge! Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan dodged without hesitation. They didn't dare to be hit by the white lightning. Rumble! While Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan were dodging, the artifact spirit continued to spit out white lightning regardless of its weakened body. It attacked Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan. It was determined to kill the two of them before it could think of a way to escape. The white lightning was extremely fast, but the artifact spirit was too far away from Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan. Under the two's extremely fast dodging sword steps, the white lightning couldn't hit them at all. After several failed attacks, the enraged artifact spirit became even weaker. The 5-colored roots of the Chaos Divine would continue to condense and penetrate its body and devour its energy. Puny humans, I'll destroy you. The artifact spirit's energy was constantly being devoured by the Chaos Divine Wood. Imprisoned in the air, the artifact spirit fell into a frenzy. A powerful soul power gushed out of the artifact spirit like a stream of light and attacked Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan. Not good. Looking at the rapidly approaching soul light, Shui Hanyan felt her soul tremble. Smelling the thick scent of death, she decisively raised her speed to the peak and dodged with all her might. However, the soul light had completely locked onto her. With her speed, she couldn't dodge at all. Just as Shui Hanyan was about to be struck by the soul light, Yi Chunfeng suddenly appeared beside her and forcefully knocked her away. Bang! The moment Yi Chunfeng knocked into Shui Hanyan, the soul light struck Yi Chunfeng's head and blasted into his soul sea. Immediately, a large amount of blood flowed out from Yi Chunfeng's 7 orifices as he heavily fell to the ground. No one knew if he was dead or alive. He saved me. After surviving the calamity, Shui Hanyan's eyes widened. Looking at the unconscious Yi Chunfeng lying on the ground with blood flowing out from his 7 orifices, she couldn't believe that Yi Chunfeng had disregarded his own safety to save her. Her heart trembled. Feng Chen, you wake up. Seeing more and more blood flowing out from Yi Chunfeng's 7 orifices and his breathing becoming weaker and weaker, Shui Hanyan immediately came to Yi Chunfeng's side and tried everything to wake him up. At this time, Yi Chunfeng was experiencing a life-and-death situation just as Shui Hanyan had imagined. When the terrifying soul tool spirit broke into Yi Chunfeng's soul sea and wreaked havoc, the God-Eater brain appeared and released a powerful devouring force, forming a devouring vortex that swallowed the tool spirit's soul. Suddenly attacked by the God-Eater brain, the powerful tool spirit's soul immediately counterattacked. Terrifying attacks constantly tore apart the devouring vortex, damaging Yi Chunfeng's soul. It was so painful that he hovered between life and death. Fortunately, Yi Chunfeng's heart was incomparably strong. He endured the inhuman pain and constantly increased the devouring power of the God-Eater brain, slowly restraining the violent tool spirit's soul. What the hell is this? Slowly being restrained by the God-Eater brain, the tool spirit's soul panicked. Once it was devoured by the God-Eater brain, it would lose its consciousness and resistance. At that time, it would never be able to see the light of day again. Unable to resist the devouring power of the God-Eater brain, the tool spirit's soul panicked and immediately threatened Yi Chunfeng. "Brat, quickly stop devouring, or I will immediately self-detonate my soul and perish together with you." However, Yi Chunfeng turned a deaf ear to the threat of the tool spirit's soul. He controlled the God-Eater brain to form a devouring vortex that continued to devour the tool spirit's soul. "You forced me to do this." Seeing the tool spirit's soul being torn apart by the devouring vortex, it ignited its soul and wanted to self-detonate a small amount to deal a fatal blow to Yi Chunfeng. Bang! The tool spirit's soul self-detonated a small amount. The terrifying power of the self-detonation instantly exploded in Yi Chunfeng's sea of soul, riddling Yi Chunfeng's soul with thousands of holes. It was so painful that Yi Chunfeng was hovering between life and death. However, Yi Chunfeng's sea of soul was guarded by the God-Eater brain, so the small self-detonation of the tool spirit's soul did not destroy his soul. The God-Eater brain seized the opportunity of the small self-detonation of the tool spirit's soul to crush the tool spirit's soul and devour it completely. After devouring the tool spirit's soul, the God-Eater brain quickly squirmed and formed thousands of brain cells. It successfully evolved and greatly improved Yi Chunfeng's perception, deduction, and analysis ability. It also successfully split out a God-Eater brain. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 735. The God-Eater brain. The God-Eater brain is actually with you. Just as the God-Eater brain successfully transformed and sublimated Yi Chunfeng's soul, an old, deep voice suddenly rang out in Yi Chunfeng's sea of soul. Who are you?" Yi Chunfeng asked in shock. When the mysterious voice said the name of the God-Eater brain, great waves surged in his heart. "Are you wondering why I know about the God-Eater brain?" The old voice rang out in Yi Chunfeng's sea of soul. "The reason I know about it is because the God-Eater brain is an inheritance item that I left behind in the Duhan continent." What? Yi Chunfeng's soul trembled. He could not believe what he had heard and fell into a daze. "I know you must be very surprised and doubtful, but I did spend countless years to create this God-Eater brain," the old voice said. "Senior, who are you? Why did you leave such a precious treasure in the Duhan continent?" Yi Chunfeng calmed his trembling soul and asked. He still could not believe what the old voice had said. "My name is Tai Yi, and I am a human like you. However, you are too weak now, so there is no need for you to know too much. When you are strong enough to support the world, you will naturally know my identity." The old voice continued, "As for why I left the God-Eater brain in the Duhan continent, I cannot tell you. Well, since you are the master of the God-Eater brain, and we have met in this life forbidden zone, I will give you some benefits. I will give you the opportunity Saint Artifact Spirit that I left here. I hope you can grow up before I die. Then, you may be able to help me." After that, the old voice disappeared and Yi Chunfeng woke up from his coma. You are not dead. Seeing Yi Chunfeng suddenly open his eyes, Shui Hanyan, who had mixed feelings, was stunned. Her voice trembled as she spoke. Why? Are you disappointed that I am not dead? Yi Chunfeng looked at Shui Hanyan, who had widened her eyes and was dumbfounded. It's said that good people don't pay with their lives, but scourges live for 1,000 years. This saying is not wrong at all when applied to you. Shui Hanyan took a deep breath, dispelling the excitement in her heart. She regained her ice-cold appearance and spoke in a cold voice. I just saved your life, and that's enough to make up for my rudeness to you. Now we're even. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng slowly stood up, no longer paying any attention to the angry Shui Hanyan, and walked towards the spirit of the sacred artifact that was bound by the void chains. As he walked towards the spirit of the sacred artifact, he kept recalling the unbelievable scene that had just happened. Even now, he still felt that what had just happened was unbelievable. He felt like he was in a dream. However, when he reached the sacred artifact's spirit that was imprisoned in midair, the dozen or so void chains strangely disappeared. The void restriction also disappeared. After losing the artifact's spirit's soul, the divine artifact's spirit no longer resisted the chaos divine tree's devouring. It was easily devoured by the chaos divine tree and imprisoned within the tree. The spirit of the sacred artifact has been taken away by him. Witnessing the scene of the chaos divine tree devouring the sacred artifact's spirit, Shui Hanyan once again revealed a complex expression. If she could bring the sacred artifact's spirit back to the Octave Divine Kingdom, the overall strength of the Octave Divine Kingdom would be greatly improved, and they would have the opportunity to suppress the Nine Heavens Divine Kingdom and the Kirin Kingdom to become the number 1 Divine Kingdom. Her status in the Octave Divine Kingdom would also be unparalleled. However, thinking of how Yi Chunfeng had risked his life to save her, Shui Hanyan sighed softly and resisted the idea of snatching the sacred artifact's spirit. She turned and walked towards the collapsed suppression wall, looking for other opportunities in the ruins. At this time, the mysterious old voice sounded in Yi Chunfeng's mind again. Junior, in addition to this life-forbidden zone, I have left an important inheritance in the mysterious sea of the central continent. I hope you can get it. That way your future path will be easier. Alright, since I have given you the sacred artifact spirit, my mission is over. However, before my remnant soul dissipates, I will give you and your friend some benefits. As for how much you can get, it will depend on your ability. After saying this, 3 streams of life light appeared in the life-forbidden zone, flowing towards Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyan. Because Yi Chunfeng's cultivation was too low, the mysterious soul only gave 1 stream of life light to Yi Chunfeng. The other 2 streams flowed towards Shui Hanyan, who was searching for great opportunities in the ruins, and fused into her body. Recovered, all my lost lifespan has been restored. After fusing with the streams of life light, Yi Chunfeng was pleasantly surprised to find that his lifespan was rapidly increasing, recovering from the remaining 800 years to the peak of 7,000 years. After recovering Yi Chunfeng's lost lifespan, the streams of life light immediately released a powerful life energy, like a tide bursting through a dam, instantly opening up all the meridians in his body. Soul-devouring art, 9 transformations. Transformation, refine. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath, enduring the pain from all the meridians in his body. He quickly circulated the soul-devouring art and 9 transformations. Transformation, refining the bursting life energy in his body, increasing his cultivation and physical strength. Yi Chunfeng's body was as strong as a top-grade heaven artifact. His foundation was even stronger than a level 2 beast emperor. He could completely withstand the surging life energy in his body and rapidly refined it. However, Shui Hanyan, who had fused with 2 streams of life light, could not withstand the bursting life energy in her body. Her graceful body was slowly being torn apart, a large amount of blood flowed out from her pores. The immense pain tormented her to the point of hovering between life and death. However, Shui Hanyan's willpower was not any weaker than Yi Qinfeng's. Her heart of martial arts was even stronger. Feeling the purity of the life energy, she bit her lips tightly and bitterly persevered. She had a feeling that if she could refine the life energy in her body, she would be able to take the most difficult step and break through to the level 6 Beast Emperor that she had always dreamed of. Persevere, I must persevere, I must not give up. In order to control the increasingly violent life energy in her body, Shui Hanyan used a secret technique and burned a large amount of her life energy, controlling the Tao Spirit's energy to forcefully suppress it. However, the bursting life energy of the two streams of life was too terrifying. Even the Tao Spirit's energy was unable to suppress it. Shui Hanyan's refining speed was also far behind. Slowly, a large amount of bloodstains appeared on Shui Hanyan's fair skin, and a large amount of blood seeped out. Damn it, how should I suppress this life energy? Feeling that her body could explode at any time due to the bursting life energy, Shui Hanyan, who was on the verge of death, glanced at Yi Qinfeng, who was also refining the life energy with a calm expression. She gritted her teeth and flew over while enduring the pain. In the next moment, Shui Hanyan, whose body was about to collapse, suddenly pushed Yi Qinfeng. Under the gaze of Yi Qinfeng, she fiercely kissed him on the lips. When their lips met, their bodies trembled violently, especially Shui Hanyan. She only felt that the heat coming from her lips was about to melt her. Just when she felt that Yi Qinfeng's lips were about to leave, she quickly stretched out her hands and hooked Yi Qinfeng's neck. Using a commanding tone, she transmitted her voice. My body is about to explode, quickly help me suck some out. All right. Looking at Shui Hanyan's watery eyes, Yi Qinfeng felt that her body was indeed in a bad condition. He did not refuse and immediately operated the soul-devouring art, forming a powerful suction force. Through his mouth, he slowly sucked the life energy in Shui Hanyan's body into his own body. As he sucked, Shui Hanyan's breathing became slightly ragged. She hugged Yi Qinfeng even tighter. Her twin peaks that had never been touched by anyone squeezed Yi Qinfeng's body fiercely. Both of their hearts were beating faster and faster. At this time, Shui Hanyan was like a bottle of mellow wine, making people intoxicated, infatuated, and unable to extricate themselves. Just when Yi Qinfeng was sucking the life energy in Shui Hanyan's body and savoring the taste that fascinated him, Yi Qinfeng, who had refined a large amount of life energy, broke through the bottleneck in one fell swoop and naturally broke through to the half-step Beast Emperor realm. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 736. Not long after Yi Qinfeng broke through to the half-step combat Beast Emperor realm, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his tongue. A large amount of blood flowed out, and he opened his eyes abruptly. Why did you bite me? Yi Qinfeng looked at Shui Hanyan, who propped herself up. Her hair was slightly messy, her cheeks were slightly red, and there were traces of blood on her lips. She was so beautiful that it made one's heart palpitate. You asked why I bit you? Shui Hanyan, whose cheeks were delicate and charming, said angrily. Who asked you to stick your dirty tongue into my mouth? Yi Qinfeng, also, I bit you to make you remember a few things. Shui Hanyan said coldly as she glared at Yi Qinfeng with her charming eyes. Remember what? Yi Qinfeng rubbed his nose and asked despite knowing the answer. Remember what you need to remember. After a large amount of energy was absorbed by Yi Qinfeng, Shui Hanyan controlled her Tao spirit force to suppress the erupting life force in her body. However, when she thought of the scene where she took the initiative to push Yi Qinfeng and offered him a kiss, Shui Hanyan was still very shy. She was too embarrassed to look at him directly. After saying that, she flew away like a dancing butterfly without any hesitation. What a thorny rose! Looking at Shui Hanyan's leaving figure, Yi Chunfeng had a strange feeling in his heart. However, he quickly got rid of the distracting thoughts in his mind. He silently sat on the top of the forbidden mountain where the life restriction had disappeared and continued to refine the life force in his body and consolidate his realm. After about 3 days, Yi Chunfeng had completely refined the life force in his body. He summoned the golden rock wings and flew out of the life restriction, returning to the North Sea. It's time to go to Slaughter City and the ancient land of the North Sea. Yi Chunfeng looked at the blue sea and muttered to himself. However, before going to the ancient land of the North Sea, he planned to make a trip to the Three Stars Island to visit Emoyan, Fu Yue, Shuepiaoling, and the others. I wonder how far this place is from the Three Stars Island. Yi Chunfeng took out several maps of the North Sea and pieced them together. He wanted to determine the route to Three Stars Island. However, the North Sea was too vast, and the sea map Yi Chunfeng had was only a partial map. There was no connection between them, so Yi Chunfeng could not determine the exact location of Three Stars Island. Yi Chunfeng had no choice but to deduce a general direction. He summoned the golden rock wings and flew towards the northwest at an extremely fast speed. Huff huff, boundless black clouds rushed in from the horizon with deafening sounds of thunder, covering the entire sky. The sky that was shining brightly a moment ago turned black in an instant, and a terrifying energy was brewing in the black clouds. And under this black cloud, a ship that captured sea beasts cleaved through the wind and waves, galloping on the turbulent sea. "Madam, the storm is coming. Should we find a small island to take shelter from the rain? After the storm passes, we can continue to capture demonic beasts." A middle-aged man wearing a black martial arts suit, with a slightly dark face and narrow eyes, glanced at the clouds that were getting darker and darker, and the huge waves that were rising from the sea surface. He came to the deck and stood beside a beautiful mother and daughter, and said respectfully, "This storm should not be small. Let's go to the small island in front to take shelter from the rain." A woman wearing a dark purple dress with a phoenix pattern on it nodded. Her slightly curly hair draped over her shoulders, and she had a few crow's feet at the corner of her eyes. She still had her charm, and her voluptuous body exuded a mature charm. How annoying! The sky was clear just now, and in just a short while, a storm is coming. We have to stay in the cabin and not come out for the next few days. Beside the charming woman was a young woman wearing a white silk dress. She had a curvaceous figure, fair and tender skin, and an unruly expression on her delicate little face. She pouted and said, "Miss, the weather in the sea is unpredictable. You will get used to it after you get used to it." The man in black said with a smile, "Mother, will our Jiang family really be reduced to capturing demonic beasts in the sea for a living?" The woman in white gently bit the arm of the beautiful woman and asked unwillingly, "As long as we can heal your father's serious injuries and get through the current crisis, I believe our Jiang family will be able to make a comeback one day." The beautiful woman sighed softly. "Madam, miss, the storm is coming. Let's go back to the cabin." The man in black looked at the black cloud that was getting thicker and thicker, and said slowly, "Hey, mother, look, there seems to be a small boat in front." Just as the mother and daughter were preparing to return to the cabin, the woman in white vaguely saw a lone boat floating on the turbulent sea through the chaotic sea. "It's really a person." The beautiful woman frowned slightly and said, "Housekeeper Hua, let's go and take a look. If possible, let's save him." "Madam, isn't it too risky to save someone in the sea?" the man in black said cautiously. "Saving a life is better than building a 7-storied pagoda. If we don't save him, he is likely to be buried in the sea." The beautiful woman said kindly, "Moreover, those people with bad intentions won't take risks in such bad weather. I don't think there is a problem with him." "Okay." The man in black nodded and ordered the ship to sail over. It approached the undulating boat that could be swallowed by the waves at any time. Friend, the storm is coming soon. If you don't mind, you can come to our ship to take shelter from the rain. As the ship approached, the beautiful woman stood on the deck and looked at the handsome young man, who was unusually calm, and said softly, "Don't worry, brotherly." "Thank you." The man in white, who was sitting motionlessly on the lone boat like a rock, suddenly opened his eyes and looked at the beautiful woman. His body flashed slightly and jumped onto the ship. This man in white was none other than Yi Chenfeng, who had been flying on the sea for 8 days and 8 nights without knowing the direction. Finally, he boarded a small boat and drifted while cultivating. What a fast speed! Seeing the speed at which Yi Chenfeng jumped onto the ship, the beautiful woman and the others revealed a strange expression. The way they looked at Yi Chenfeng changed subtly. "Who are you? Why are you drifting on the sea?" The woman in white looked up and down at Yi Chenfeng and asked rudely. "I came to the northern sea to gain experience," Yi Chenfeng vaguely explained. "Gain experience with just you?" The woman in white pointed at Yi Chenfeng somewhat rudely. She didn't feel anything special about him, nor did she perceive his true strength. "Okay, the storm is coming soon. Let's go back to the cabin and talk." Seeing that Yi Chenfeng's clothes were clean without a single drop of seawater on them, the beautiful woman felt that he was not simple. However, the beautiful woman did not feel any malice or malicious intent from him, so she decided to find out more about him. Yi Chenfeng nodded and followed the beautiful woman to a clean and tidy cabin with a few small pots of flowers. Not long after the group entered the cabin, endless electric snakes broke through the thick dark clouds and bombarded the turbulent sea surface. For a time, the whole world was filled with thunder, wind, and heavy rain. A terrible storm was coming. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 737. Young Master, may I know your name and where are you from? After Yi Chenfeng sat down, the beautiful woman personally poured him a cup of tea with traces of spiritual energy. Then, she asked straightforwardly, "What is it?" "My name is Feng Chen and I'm from the northern spiritual region. I came to the North Sea to train." Yi Chenfeng took a sip of the green tea and said softly. The charming woman did not believe Yi Chenfeng's explanation. After all, with his strength of a first-grade Xian beast ancestor, it was impossible for him to train in the dangerous North Sea. If he was not careful, he could die in the mouth of a demon beast. She regretted being kind and bringing Yi Chenfeng, who had an unknown origin, to the ship. "Oh right, madam, may I know where you are from and where you are going?" Yi Chenfeng saw the doubt in the eyes of the charming woman and knew that she did not believe him. He did not mind and asked. "We are from Xunyue Island." The charming woman thought for a while and said truthfully. "Xunyue Island." Yi Chenfeng's eyebrows twitched slightly and revealed an unexpected joy. He did not think that his luck would be so good to actually meet a ship from Xunyue Island. As long as he could reach Xunyue Island with his speed, he would be able to fly to 3 Stars Island in 2 hours. "Why, does young Master Feng know about Xunyue Island?" Catching the subtle change in Yi Chenfeng's expression, the charming woman's heart moved and she asked softly. This time, I have another purpose for my training in the North Sea, and that is to go to the 3-Star Island, which is not far from Xunyue Island. However, I will not ride on your ship for nothing. This low-grade heaven artifact will be the fee for my ride. In order to dispel the concerns of the charming woman, Yi Chenfeng very generously took out a low-grade heaven artifact long sword from his universe ring and placed it on the table. "Heaven artifact. Young Master Feng, this is too precious." The charming woman did not think that Yi Chenfeng would be so generous and directly use a low-grade heaven artifact to pay the fare. She revealed a deep shock and quickly declined. "Compared to the help you have given me, this low-grade heaven artifact is nothing. Madam, please accept it." Yi Chunfeng said with a smile. If that's the case, then I'll shamelessly accept it. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's serious expression and thinking of her family's situation, the beautiful woman no longer refused. She put away the low-grade heaven artifact that she considered a treasure into her universe ring. Madam, I'm a little tired. Can you arrange a cabin for me to rest? Yi Chunfeng asked softly when he saw that the suspicion in the beautiful woman's eyes had dissipated a lot. All right, I will arrange a cabin for young Master Feng to rest in. As she spoke, the beautiful woman personally arranged a relatively quiet cabin for Yi Chunfeng. Madam, that Feng Chen's background is not simple. I have a feeling that he is hiding his true strength. When the beautiful woman returned to the cabin, housekeeper Hua, who had been waiting for a long time, said worriedly, "We must take precautions in advance to prevent this person from harming us. Yes, this Feng Chen should be hiding his true strength. However, I feel that he will not harm us." The beautiful woman pondered for a moment and said, "Why?" The woman in white asked puzzledly, "Xinya, what do you think is on our ship that is comparable to the low-grade heaven artifact that he gave us? He can even casually give away a low-grade heaven artifact. Why would he covet our things?" The beautiful woman said, "Madam is right. However, young Miss is too beautiful. I'm afraid that he will covet young Mrs. Beauty and harm young Mississippi." Housekeeper Hua looked at the beautiful woman in white who was full of youthful vitality and said worriedly, "I see that this person's eyes are clear. He doesn't look like a lecherous person. He shouldn't do anything to harm Xinya. Perhaps he really wants to go to Three Stars Island and can travel with us. All right, since things have come to this, let's not be suspicious anymore and not offend him. I hope that our good intentions will be rewarded." The beautiful woman said slowly, "Mother, if he is really hiding his strength and has an extraordinary identity, do you think we can make use of him to deal with the Huang family and resolve our Jiang family's current predicament?" The woman in white rolled her eyes and said craftily, "No, Xinya. We have only met him by chance. Remember not to transfer our Jiang family's matters to him. We don't want to incur his wrath and create more trouble." The beautiful woman warned sternly. Xunyue Island, Jiang family. Yi Chunfeng's soul spirit was extremely powerful. The conversation between the beautiful woman and the others was all captured by his powerful soul spirit and entered his ears. After knowing the background of the beautiful woman and the others, Yi Chunfeng withdrew his soul spirit and cleared his mind of distracting thoughts. He started to cultivate the last move of the Emperor Heavenly Sword technique, the Emperor Shocking Heaven Slash, and the last move of the three absolutes, the Illusory Dragon Water Shadow. The apocalyptic storm lasted for 5 days and 5 nights before it gradually stopped. In the storm, the Jiang family's ship did not stop at the isolated island to take shelter. Instead, it braved the wind and waves and sailed towards the Xunyue Island. Just as the sky gradually cleared up and the bright sun hung high in the sky, the ship sailed rapidly towards the Xunyue Island. The beautiful woman and the others came to the deck and breathed in the fresh air after the rain. Suddenly, a whale that was more than 30 meters long, completely golden in color, and with a blood-red coral horn on its huge head leaped out of the sea, creating a huge splash. Golden coral whale. It's the golden coral whale. Looking at the huge golden fish that leaped out of the sea not far ahead, the beautiful woman and the others were pleasantly surprised. The golden coral whale was a demonic beast unique to the North Sea. Its entire body was filled with treasures, especially its blood-red coral horn. It was priceless and comparable to an ordinary low-grade heaven artifact. The golden coral whale in front of them was a young whale that had only evolved into a level 2 heavenly beast. It was equivalent to a level 3 mystic beast sect expert. With the strength of the beautiful woman and the others, they definitely had a chance to kill it. "Speed up. Don't let this golden coral whale escape," the beautiful woman ordered. As long as they caught this golden coral whale and sold it back to the Xunyue Island, they would be able to repay the high amount of soul crystals that they had borrowed from the Huang family. The speedily sailing ship soon approached the golden coral whale that was more than 30 meters long. Under the command of the beautiful woman, 18 soul crystal cannons that were as thick as buckets were aimed at the golden coral whale that was trying to sink into the sea. They continuously shot out soul light beams with extremely strong destructive power, bombarding its huge body. Howl! After being bombarded by the soul crystal cannons, the golden coral whale's hard body was badly mutilated. A large amount of blood gushed out like a fountain, dyeing the sea red. The golden coral whale roared in pain. "Let's go into the sea." In order to prevent the injured golden coral whale from escaping to the bottom of the sea, Steward Hua, who was a level 4 mystic beast grandmaster, immediately jumped into the turbulent sea with 6 masters of the Jiang family. They held their weapons and besieged the golden coral whale, forcibly blocking its escape route. Howl! With its escape route blocked, the golden coral whale, which was riddled with scars, roared angrily. The terrifying sound waves were accompanied by rolling demonic power, setting off monstrous waves that bombarded Butler Hua and the other 6 people. Increase the power of the soul crystal cannons to the limit and bombard the golden coral whale with full force. Butler Hua and the other 6 people were under great pressure as they watched the furious golden coral whale madly attack. The beautiful woman continued to give orders to increase the power of the soul crystal cannons, continuously attacking the golden coral whale. The golden coral whale, which was getting more and more injured, was about to be killed by the 18 terrifying soul crystal cannons. Suddenly, 2 thunderous roars rang out, startling huge waves that were dozens of meters high. In the next moment, 2 adult golden coral whales that had passed the thunder tribulation and reached the level of level 4 heavenly beasts suddenly emerged from the blood-stained sea. They stared at Butler Hua and the others with blood-red eyes and launched fatal attacks. Mobile reading site, book address. To facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 738. Not good. These are 2 adult golden coral whales that have passed the thunder tribulation. Steward Hua and the others are in danger. Seeing the 2 golden coral whales, both of which were level 4 heavenly beasts, glowing with a golden light, the beautiful woman was so frightened that her face paled. Without hesitation, she ordered, "Quickly change direction and crash into them, save housekeeper Hua and the rest." "Yes, madam." Hearing the woman's order, the crew immediately drove the ship to crash into the 2 golden coral whales that were over 50 meters long, as dazzling as the sun. They were roaring angrily with monstrous energy. Boom! The speedily sailing ship crashed into the 2 golden coral whales, and the powerful impact blocked the fierce attacks of the 2 golden coral whales, saving the lives of Steward Hua and the others who had turned pale with fright. "Steward Hua, come up quickly. Don't worry about the injured golden coral whale." At this critical moment, the woman gave up the hope of capturing the young golden coral whale. She shouted at Steward Hua and the others who had just survived the disaster. When Steward Hua and the others fled back to the ship, the 2 golden coral whales with bloodshot eyes roared angrily and launched a fierce attack on the Jiang family's ship. Their gigantic bodies, which weighed tens of billions of kilograms, fiercely bumped into the enormous ship like 2 moving hills, making the over 100 meters long ship shake intensely. The sturdy hull of the ship had been continuously dented. "Burn the soul crystals and attack with all your might." The woman held the shaking ship tightly. Her face was pale as she looked at the 2 golden coral whales that were crashing into the ship fiercely. She gave the order. Boom, boom, boom. At this critical moment, the crew of the Jiang family burned their soul crystals at all costs to increase the power of the soul crystal cannons. They kept bombarding the huge bodies of the golden coral whales. However, the golden coral whales had passed the thunder tribulation. Their physical defense had become extremely terrifying. The soul crystal cannons that burned soul crystals couldn't break their defense and hurt them. Increase the horsepower. Let's rush over. The woman found that the most powerful soul crystal cannons still couldn't hurt the two angry golden coral whales. She didn't dare to continue the fight. She wanted to use the ship's powerful impact to break out of the siege. However, the two golden coral whales were too powerful. Under their full attack, the Jiang family's ship couldn't break through their defense. The sturdy ship was severely deformed under their repeated collisions. A large amount of seawater seeped into the ship through the cracks at the bottom of the ship, causing the entire ship to begin to sink. What should we do, madam? The ship was smashed by the two golden coral whales, and in our current situation, we can't break through their blockade. Looking at the two golden coral whales that were emitting a ferocious aura, Steward Hua and the others' hearts fell to the bottom as they spoke in despair. As for the woman in the white dress, she was so scared that her face was drained of blood. Trembling, she tightly grasped the arm of the charming woman, not daring to think about her tragic fate. Housekeeper Hua, I still have 30,000 high-grade soul crystals here. Put them all into the energy furnace, and we'll fight our way out with all our might, the beautiful woman said in a dignified tone as she handed a spatial ring to Housekeeper Hua. All right. Although high-grade soul crystals were extremely precious to the Jiang family, nothing was more precious than life. Steward Hua took the universe ring that contained 30,000 high-grade soul crystals and turned around to walk towards the energy cabin. Rumble! All of a sudden, a strange sound of thunder came from the clear sky and entered the ears of the charming woman and the others. Their souls trembled as they raised their heads to look at the sky. In the next moment, their pupils suddenly enlarged as they watched in disbelief as two purple thunderbolts fell from the blue sky without any warning. They tore through the air and accurately bombarded the heads of the two violent and ferocious golden coral whales. Rumble! Two loud sounds rang out. The purple thunderbolts easily penetrated the defenses of their bodies and penetrated their huge heads. A large amount of blood gushed out like a fountain and instantly dyed the sea within a radius of several miles red. Dead. Two golden coral whales that are comparable to peerless kings are dead. The charming woman and the others opened their eyes wide as they looked at the golden coral whales that were bleeding profusely and had no signs of life. They looked as if they had seen a ghost and felt that the scene in front of them was unreal. They couldn't believe that the golden coral whales that had just forced them into a desperate situation were killed by two purple thunderbolts that suddenly appeared. Mother, why did purple thunderbolts suddenly descend from such a clear sky and kill two golden coral whales? The woman in the white dress rubbed her eyes and found that what she saw was not an illusion. She stuttered as she asked, I think someone must have saved us. The charming woman took a deep breath and suppressed the shock in her heart as she slowly said, Madam, you mean Housekeeper Hua's eyes widened as he thought of a person and looked towards the quiet cabin. Perhaps our kindness was really rewarded. The charming woman let out a long sigh of relief and said with a smile, Mother, you mean that Feng Qin saved us? The woman in the white dress asked in surprise. These two golden coral whales are heavenly beasts that have gone through the thunder tribulation. Normal thunderbolts can't hurt them at all. Moreover, the appearance of these two purple thunderbolts is too strange. They must have been summoned by an expert. And in this vast sea there is no one, so there is only one person who can save us, that mysterious Feng Qin. The charming woman suppressed the excitement in her heart and analyzed. That Feng Qin is so powerful. The woman in the white dress rolled her eyes. There was a hint of joy in her eyes as she said excitedly, Mother, do you think we can ask him to help us deal with the ancient ink merchant alliance and the Huang family? As long as he is willing to help, our Jiang family's crisis will be resolved. No, that Feng Qin is far more powerful than we thought. His strength and identity are also beyond our imagination. Since he saved us secretly, it means that he doesn't want to be disturbed by us, so no one is allowed to disturb his rest. Our Jiang family's crisis still needs to be overcome by ourselves. With these 2 golden coral whales and that low-grade heavenly artifact, our Jiang family still has hope to rise again. Housekeeper Hua, no matter what young Master Feng wants, try to satisfy him as much as possible, the charming woman solemnly instructed. Don't worry, madam, we know what to do. Housekeeper Hua nodded and said, Jiang family disciples, listen up. Quickly repair the hull of the ship that was hit by the golden coral whales, then drag the corpses of the 2 golden coral whales to the ship. We need to leave this place as soon as possible, the charming woman ordered. Yes, madam. The Jiang family disciples who had survived the disaster obeyed and got busy. But the golden coral whales were too big, and the Jiang family's crew was not very strong. They used all their skills and burned a lot of soul crystals to drag one of the golden coral whales into the hold of the ship. Just as the Jiang family people were forcefully dragging the second golden coral whale, a deafening whistle sounded. 3 ships that were more than 100 meters long with golden yellow flags rode the wind and broke through the wave. They quickly surrounded the Jiang family's ship and the golden coral whale's corpses. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 739. Huang Family, the Huang family's ship. Seeing the sudden appearance of the 3 giant ships, the beautiful woman's expression changed greatly. Her eyes revealed a trace of panic. She did not expect that they would encounter another big trouble after just surviving the crisis. The Huang family's ship had appeared out of nowhere and surrounded them. Could there be a spy? A thought suddenly appeared in the beautiful woman's mind. She suspected that there was a spy on the Jiang family's ship. Otherwise, the Huang family's ship would not have appeared so suddenly. Jili, I did not expect your Jiang family to have such means to capture these 2 golden coral whales. However, these 2 golden coral whales were discovered by my Huang family first. We chased them all the way here. So, please return these 2 golden coral whales to my Huang family. A black-robed old man with slightly white sideburns and sunken eyes said in a domineering manner. He gave off a ferocious feeling. You are shameless. These 2 golden coral whales were clearly captured by my Jiang family. What does it have to do with your Huang family? The woman in white retorted angrily. You can't say it like that. However, if Miss Xinya agrees to marry young Master Zichen, these 2 golden coral whales will be my Huang family's betrothal gift. The old man in black put his hands behind his back and looked at the woman in white. Don't even think about it. I would rather die than marry that scum. The woman in white was so angry that her whole body trembled. She refused without hesitation. Miss Xinya, you should really consider Ai's proposal. This is the best result for you and the Jiang family. The old man in black did not care and said slowly. Second Elder Huang, your Huang family should give up. My Jiang family will never have a marriage alliance with your Huang family. Also, these 2 golden coral whales were captured by my Jiang family. Don't try to find some high-sounding reason to try and snatch them. Let me tell you, my Jiang family will never give these golden coral whales to you. The beautiful woman replied domineeringly. The source of her confidence was Yi Chenfeng, who was on the ship. Haha, this is not up to you. Second Elder Huang laughed loudly and said arrogantly, if your Jiang clan doesn't know what's good for you, then don't blame us for robbing you. How dare you? The beautiful woman said angrily. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you have the support of the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance. If you force the Jiang family into a corner, we will fight you to the death. Ha ha ha, it's a life and death struggle. With just you guys? Second Elder Huang laughed loudly and said, Jili, in this kind of situation, you still dare to threaten us. I have to say that you are naive. However, I'm really interested in you. If you're willing to be my woman, maybe I'll be in a good mood and spare you. Second Elder Huang said lecherously as he looked at the beautiful woman's body that was like a peach and exuded a mature charm. Xinya, go and beg young Master Feng to save us. Thinking of her own situation, the charming woman could only place all her hopes on Yi Chunfeng. Only he would be able to resolve her crisis. All right. The woman in white, Jiang Xinya, bit her lips and turned around to run towards the cabin. When she turned around, the woman in white was suddenly stunned. She saw Yi Chunfeng, whose body was as straight as a steel spear and whose eyes shone with rays of starlight, appear at the entrance of the cabin and slowly walk towards her. Young Master Feng. Seeing Yi Chunfeng take the initiative to appear, Jiang Xinya's white and tender face revealed a look of joy and she couldn't help but cry out in surprise. Don't waste time, let's go back to Xinyue Island. Yi Chunfeng came to the deck and glanced at the 3 Huang clan ships with a sharp gaze. He released his soul force to form a giant hand that covered the sky and directly grabbed the huge corpse of the golden coral whale. He then put it into a spatial ring with a large capacity and said indifferently, "Who are you?" When Second Elder Huang saw Yi Chunfeng condense a gigantic hand to grab the golden coral whale, he was stunned by the scene before him. His eyes widened as he revealed a look of horror. "You don't deserve to know who I am?" Yi Chunfeng said domineeringly with his hands behind his back. "Brat, I advise you not to be arrogant. Offending my Huang clan is the same as offending the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance. If you don't want anything to happen, then don't meddle in other people's business. Otherwise, the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance will make sure that you won't live to see tomorrow's sun." Seeing Yi Chunfeng's shocking strength, Second Elder Huang had no choice but to use the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance to pressure Yi Chunfeng. Ancient Ink Merchant Alliance. Yi Chunfeng revealed a strange expression and said slowly, "I don't want to bully you. If you can use the Ancient Ink Merchant Alliance to deal with me, then I'll wait. How dare you look down on the Ancient Ink Merchant Alliance? Do you believe that I won't immediately open fire and destroy your ships, sinking your corpses into the sea?" Sigh. Looking at the domineering and stubborn Second Elder Huang, Yi Chunfeng sighed softly. 3 balls of dual polarity ancient heavenly water shot out from his fingertips. Like jumping elves, they flew towards the 3 Huang clan ships in 3 different directions. Crack, crack, crack. After breaking through to the half-step combat beast emperor realm, Yi Chunfeng could unleash the strongest attack of his 3 heavenly spirit. The 3 balls of dual polarity ancient heavenly water hit the 3 Huang clan ships and immediately emitted a chilling aura. Like a surging cold wave, it quickly froze the 3 ships. In less than 4 breaths of time, the 3 ships were frozen by the dual polarity ancient heavenly water. Second Elder Huang and the others, who had turned pale with fright and could not dodge in time, were also frozen into ice sculptures of different shapes. However, although Second Elder Huang's group was arrogant, they didn't deserve to die. Therefore, Yi Chunfeng didn't kill them and only froze them into ice sculptures to torture them for a while. So powerful! Witnessing this unbelievable scene, the charming woman and the others were deeply shocked. Their minds went blank, and they didn't dare believe what they were seeing. "All right, don't be in a daze. Let's set off for Xinyue Island," Yi Chunfeng urged softly as he looked at the dumbfounded woman and the others. "Young Master Feng, my Jiang clan will never forget your kindness." The charming woman and the others regained their senses and looked at Yi Chunfeng with reverence. They bowed deeply to him and thanked him from the bottom of their hearts. They immediately ordered their ships to set off for Xinyue Island. "Madam Jiang, I have a few questions for you. I hope you can answer them." After returning to the cabin, Yi Chunfeng gave the universe ring containing the golden coral whale to the charming woman and said slowly, "Young Master Feng, please ask?" The charming woman said respectfully, "I want to know about the current situation of 3 Stars Island and Xinyue Island." Yi Chunfeng slowly asked, Right now, Three Stars Island and Shinue Island are under the control of the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance. It can be said that the two islands have been unified by the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance. The charming woman didn't know about the relationship between Yi Chunfeng and Moyuyan, so she explained in detail. Then does your Jiang clan have any enmity with the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance? Yi Chunfeng continued to ask. No. The charming woman shook her head and said, My Jiang clan originally had no contact with the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance, nor did we have any enmity. The reason why the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance was hostile towards us was because my Jiang clan had a close relationship with the number one power of Shinue Island, the Mystic Moon Sect. After the destruction of the Mystic Moon Sect, my Jiang clan was implicated. However, my Jiang clan and the Huang clan do have enmity that can be traced back to 1,000 years ago. The ancient Ink Merchant Alliance used this relationship to instruct the Huang clan to deal with us. Right now, my Jiang clan's power is being nibbled away by the Huang clan. My husband was also ambushed not long ago and was heavily injured. The ancient Ink Merchant Alliance even cheated and put on a show with the Huang clan, causing my Jiang clan to owe them 10 million mid-grade soul crystals for no reason. The charming woman continued to talk about her tragic experience. Then what do you plan to do from now on? Yi Chunfeng's expression didn't change as he asked, making it impossible for others to see through his inner thoughts. Right now, I only want to heal my husband's injuries and repay the mid-grade soul crystals we owe the Huang clan. After that, I will leave Shinue Island, stay away from the conflict, and live out the rest of my life in peace. The charming woman took a deep breath and said, Young Master Feng, you are very resourceful. I wonder if you can help my Jiang clan safely leave Shinue Island. As long as we can safely leave Shinue Island, I am willing to do anything to repay you. Jiang Xinya suddenly knelt on the ground and begged. Ai, all right. I will accompany you on a trip to Shinue Island. Yi Chunfeng looked at the kneeling Jiang Xinya and sighed softly. He really wanted to know what had happened to the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance in the years that he had been away. He also wanted to know if this hidden chess piece that he had left in the North Sea was worth supporting. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 740. The gentle breeze, the waves, the misty clouds, young Master Feng, Shinue Island is just ahead. Have you been here before? Jiang Xinya, who was wearing a light yellow silk dress and had light makeup on her face, stood on the deck. She pointed at the faintly discernible Shinue Island in the distance and introduced it to Yi Chunfeng, who was beside her. She was trying to get closer to him. I've been here before. Although Jiang Xinya, who had deliberately dressed up, was very beautiful and gave off a youthful aura, compared to Yu Nikhang, Shui Hanyan, and the other girls, there was still a large gap. Yi Chunfeng slowly said as he looked at the approaching Divine Moon Island. Young Master Feng, you've been to Shinue Island before? Jiang Xinya asked in surprise. Yes, I came here once a few years ago. Yi Chunfeng nodded. He didn't tell Jiang Xinya that the changes in Three Stars Island and Shinue Island were all because of him. About 2 hours later, the Jiang family's ship entered the busy harbor of Shinue Island. Because the Huang family spy on the ship was easily caught by Yi Chunfeng, the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance and the Huang family didn't know of his existence. The golden coral whale was too large, and its flesh couldn't be preserved for a long time. The beautiful woman ordered people to cut off the golden coral whale's flesh and dug out its demon core and demon heart. She then started selling them in the harbor. The news of the Jiang family selling the golden coral whale in public attracted a lot of attention and quickly reached the ears of the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance and the Huang family. What? You said that the Jiang family caught 2 golden coral whales this time? A middle-aged man wearing a dark golden robe with cloud patterns frowned and whispered. He had an obvious scar at the corner of his left eye and was hugging a beautiful woman with messy hair. This middle-aged man was the last remaining Grand Elder of the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance, Mo Gu's last disciple, Mo Song. Relying on Mo Gu's superior position in the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance, he successfully became the new island lord of Shunyue Island. Yes, it's true. The ancient Ink Merchant Alliance's spy said respectfully, the Jiang family is now selling the skin and flesh of the golden coral whale at the harbor. I didn't expect them to be so lucky. They actually caught 2 golden coral whales in the vast North Sea. Mo Song's eyes flickered with an ominous glint as he ordered, inform Patriarch Huang to make a trip to the Jiang family and bring me the demon cores, demon hearts, and coral horns of the 2 golden coral whales. Yes, Island Master. I'll go find family head Huang now. With that, the spy from the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance swiftly left. Island Master Mo, don't bother with the hateful Jiang family. Let Ku-er give you a massage and relax. The pretty girl with delicate cheeks and watery eyes placed her seductive red lips beside Mo Song's ear. She breathed out a breath of hot air and said softly, "Haha, let me give you a massage." Mo Song snickered and picked up the charming woman with misty eyes. Then, he quickly walked to the back of the hall. "Madam, Miss, Steward Hua, you're finally back." When the charming woman and her entourage returned to the Jiang family manor, the Jiang family immediately went out to welcome them. The atmosphere was very lively. "Young Master Feng, you must be tired. I'll ask Xinya to bring you to the guest room to rest." The charming woman didn't dare to neglect Yi Chunfeng and said respectfully, "I'm not tired. Bring me to see family head Jiang. Maybe I have a way to heal his injuries," Yi Chunfeng said slowly. He had a good impression of the intelligent and kind woman. "Then I'll have to trouble young Master Feng." The charming woman was overjoyed. She personally brought Yi Chunfeng to the courtyard where family head Jiang Zhong was recuperating from his injuries. As soon as Yi Chunfeng entered Jiang Zhong's room, he immediately smelled the glaring smell of medicine. Jiang Zhong, who was as thin as a match, had withered yellow hair and an extremely weak vitality, was soaking in a medicine barrel. "You're back." This is, seeing Jiang Xinya and her daughter come in, Jiang Zhong's deathly pale face revealed a rare expression. He looked at the unfamiliar face of Yi Chunfeng and asked, "Father, young Master Feng is here to heal you. My mother and my lives were saved by young Master Feng." Jiang Xinya simply told her father about her experience at sea. "Your Excellency's great kindness." Cough, cough, cough. Family head Jiang, don't say anything first. If you really want to thank me, wait until I heal your injuries first. Yi Chunfeng looked at Jiang Chong, who was coughing up large amounts of blood. He walked behind him and extended a finger. He tapped Jiang Chong's Dazui acupoint and released a powerful amount of soul force into his body. After about 10 breaths, Yi Chunfeng withdrew his finger from the Dazui acupoint and said slowly, "If I'm not wrong, the most fatal thing about family head Jiang is not his injuries, but a colorless and odorless poison in his body." "Poison? Young Master Feng, you're saying that my father is poisoned?" Jiang Xinya's face changed as she nervously asked, "Is the poison in my father's body serious?" Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, "Yes. The poison in family head Jiang's body has already entered his bone marrow. That's why his injuries are getting worse by the day. If it weren't for the medicine he was soaking in to restrain the poison, he would have died already." "Then young Master Feng, do you have a way to save my father? If you can save my father's life, I'm willing to repay you with everything I have." Although Jiang Xinya was a little unruly, she was still very filial. Knowing that Jiang Zhong's life was in danger, she immediately knelt on the ground and begged. "I'll try my best." Yi Chunfeng waved his right hand and released a strand of soul power. He lifted Jiang Xinya up from the ground and pressed his hand on Jiang Zhong's back. He said, Family head Jiang, the process of expelling the poison will be a little painful. Bear with it. Thank you for your trouble, Jiang Zhong weakly said. Death flame, heavenly fire, refine. Yi Chunfeng's mind moved and the death flame, heavenly fire entered Jiang Zhong's body through his palm. Like a slender fire snake, it burned away the poison in Jiang Zhong's body. Yi Chunfeng's control over the death flame heavenly fire was very precise and didn't hurt Jiang Zhong's body. However, the process of refining the poison was still very painful for Jiang Zhong. It was so painful that his entire body twitched and spasmed. Just as the pain in Jiang Chong's body grew stronger and stronger, to the point where Jiang Chong was hovering between life and death, Yi Chunfeng retracted the death blaze heavenly flame that had entered his body. He took out a heaven-rank soul pellet and handed it to the beautiful woman. The poison in Jiang Clan Head's body has been removed. This soul pellet is for you. Melt it in warm water and feed it to him over 10 days. Thank you, young Master Feng. After seeing Yi Chunfeng's amazing strength, the beautiful woman firmly believed in him. She held the heaven-level soul pill in her palm as if she had received a precious treasure and thanked him continuously. Well, there are some bad guests. Let's go out and meet them. Yi Chunfeng had just expelled the poison in Jiang Zhong's body. His powerful soul sensed that there were bad guests. He said slowly, "Bad guests." Hearing Yi Chunfeng's words, the beautiful woman and others immediately guessed who had come at this time. They immediately ordered people to take care of Jiang Zhong and followed Yi Chunfeng to the gate of the mansion. They saw the Huang family head and others who had broken the gate arrogantly and rudely. They were emitting a fierce aura and had injured several Jiang family guards. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 741. Huang Zhenfeng, what is the meaning of this? Why did you destroy my Jiang family's gate and injure my guards? Looking at the arrogant and unreasonable people of the Huang family, the beautiful woman's expression became extremely ugly. She reprimanded them without any trace of politeness. "Jili, I heard that you caught 2 golden coral whales this time?" The Huang family head, Huang Zhenfeng, ignored the angry gazes of the beautiful woman and the others. He ordered someone to bring an armchair from the Jiang family and sat in the front yard. He looked at Ji Li's voluptuous body with burning eyes and asked slowly, "So what if I did?" Ji Li glared at the lawless Huang Zhenfeng and said with a gloomy face, "Ji Li, did you forget that your Jiang family still owes my Huang family 15 million mid-grade soul crystals? However, I am a kind-hearted person. I am prepared to take the monster core, demon heart, and coral horn of the 2 golden coral whales. If you are willing, I can write off the debt of 10 million mid-grade soul crystals." Huang Zhenfeng wantonly extorted. A single monster core, demon heart, and coral horn of the golden coral whale is worth the debt that my Jiang family owes your Huang family. You want to? Huang Zhenfeng, do you really think that my Jiang family has no one? Hearing Huang Zhenfeng's extortion, Ji Li trembled with anger and said angrily, "Although the 3 treasures of the golden coral whales are precious, it depends on who has them." Huang Zhenfeng smiled slightly and said deliberately, "In the hands of others, they may be worth a lot. However, in the hands of your Jiang family, 10 million mid-grade soul crystals is already giving you face." "You what? You don't believe me?" Huang Zhenfeng said, as if he had the Jiang family under control. "Without the consent of the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance and my Huang family, who do you think dares to buy the 3 treasures of the golden coral whales in your hands? Tell me, who is the current island master of Xinyue Island?" Standing in the crowd, Yi Chunfeng looked at the arrogant Huang Zhenfeng and said coldly. Huang Zhenfeng frowned slightly and looked at the unfamiliar face of Yi Chunfeng and shouted, "Damn it, who do you think you are? Since when is it your turn to speak?" Boom! As soon as Huang Zhenfeng's voice fell, Yi Qianfeng's aura erupted like a volcano. It was like a towering mountain that ruthlessly pressed down on his body. It directly crushed the armchair under him and ruthlessly pressed him to the ground. His butt directly smashed into the ground, causing his face to contort in pain. "How dare you!" The masters of the Huang family were enraged when they saw Huang Zhenfeng being crushed to the ground. They merged with their powerful spiritual beasts and attacked Yi Qianfeng. Kacha kacha. When they made their move, a powerful soul power surged through the ground and into the legs of the Huang family's experts, instantly freezing their legs, making them unable to move. Witnessing Yi Qianfeng calmly freezing the experts of the Huang family, Huang Zhenfeng looked as if he had seen a ghost. His eyes widened as he stared at Yi Qianfeng, shocked by his strength. "I don't like to repeat myself. Who is the current island master of Xinyue Island?" Yi Qianfeng looked at the frightened Huang Zhenfeng and asked again. "The current island master of Xinyue Island is Mo Song. He also has another identity. He is the last disciple of the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance's Grand Elder, Mo Gu." Seeing Yi Qianfeng's shocking strength, Huang Zhenfeng submitted and obediently answered. "Mo Song?" Yi Qianfeng frowned slightly. He had not heard of this name when he was in the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance, so he did not know much about him. "Send a message to Mo Song. Tell him to come to the Jiang family residence to see me," Yi Qianfeng ordered without any room for objection. Tell him that if he does not appear in 2 hours, he will definitely die," Yi Qianfeng said domineeringly. "Okay, I will send the message." Meeting Yi Qianfeng's sharp eyes, Huang Zhenfeng felt as if he was facing the Grim Reaper. A layer of cold sweat appeared on his forehead, but he did not dare to disobey Yi Qianfeng's order. He took out his communication pearl in fear and sent a message to Mo Song. At this time, Mo Song was having a lot of fun with the concubine he had just taken in. He was extremely angry when he was disturbed by the continuous ringing of his communication pearl. When he heard Huang Zhenfeng's report, he was even more furious. A thick murderous aura exploded from his body, causing his concubine to tremble in fear. After his anger, Mo Song calmed down. Those who dared to threaten him on Xinyue Island were either fools or experts. After thinking for a while, he took out his communication pearl and sent a message to Mo Gu, who was far away on 3-Star Island. After reporting this news to Mo Gu, he led a large number of experts from the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance and rushed to the Jiang family residence. "Young Master Feng, are you really going to deal with Island Master Mo and the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance?" Although Yi Qianfeng was very strong, Jili did not know him well. She was afraid that after he left after teaching the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance a lesson, the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance would vent their anger on the Jiang family. The ancient Ink Merchant Alliance should be cleaned up. Yi Qianfeng nodded and said, "As for you guys, you don't have to worry about their revenge. I will take care of it." "You, who exactly are you?" Hearing Yi Qianfeng's domineering tone, Huang Zhenfeng was a little afraid and asked with a trembling voice. "You will know who I am very soon." As he spoke, Yi Qianfeng flicked his finger. A cold light shot out and hit Huang Zhenfeng's throat. It froze his throat, causing him to be unable to speak and in extreme pain. That Mo Song came faster than I expected. After freezing the Huang family's experts, Yi Qianfeng, who was resting with his eyes closed, waited for more than an hour in the front yard of the Jiang residence. His powerful soul spirit sensed that more than 30 mystic beast sect experts were riding 8 flying spirit beasts and flying over rapidly. He opened his eyes. Boom! In the next moment, the Jiang residence was attacked by a terrifying force. Large patches of the courtyard walls collapsed. Amidst the dust, Mo Song appeared with a gloomy expression and a fierce look in his eyes. He brought along the experts of the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance. "Jili, your Jiang family is really bold. How dare you invite outsiders to deal with us? Do you believe that I will make your Jiang family disappear from Shunyue Island? Mo Song, who was wearing a black robe, walked in with a murderous look. When he saw the frozen state of Huang Zhenfeng and the others, the centipede scar at the corner of his eye twitched. You are Mo Song. Looking at the arrogant Mo Song, Yi Chunfeng spoke calmly. How dare you call me by the name of Island Master Mo? One of Mo Song's trusted aides shouted. But just as he finished speaking, a terrifying airflow appeared in front of him. It was like an invisible giant hand that ruthlessly slapped his face, causing his cheeks to cave in. His entire body flew out and directly fell out of the Jiang Manor, fainting on the ground. You are not from Shunyue Island, right? In the past, when the ancient Ink Business Alliance was in trouble, Mook Gu had sent Mo Song away early on. Thus, he had never seen Yi Chunfeng before. As for Mo Song's trusted aides, they were all peripheral characters in the ancient Ink Business Alliance, so they had never seen Yi Chunfeng before. However, when Mo Song saw Yi Chun send his subordinates flying without batting an eyelid, he sensed that something was amiss. Hence, he asked coldly. Although I am not from Shunyue Island, I have some connections with your ancient Ink Merchant Alliance. Yi Chunfeng said calmly. Is that so? Mo Song looked at Yi Chunfeng's unfamiliar face and asked doubtfully, What connection do you have with my ancient Ink Merchant Alliance? Call your master over and you will know my connection with your ancient Ink Merchant Alliance. Yi Chunfeng said coldly with his hands behind his back. Impudent! My master is not someone you can meet just because you want to. Mo Song's face darkened as he shouted loudly. Sigh, who would have thought that the ancient Mo Business Alliance would produce so many useless people who only know how to view the sky from the bottom of a well. As he spoke, Yi Chunfeng extended his hand and released a powerful suction force, sucking in Mo Song, who was a half-step defiant beast king. Mo Song, who was unable to resist, was pulled over and sent flying with a slap. Mobile reading website. Book address. In order to make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this book. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 742. Silence, incomparable silence. Witnessing Mo Song being sent flying by Yi Chunfeng with a single slap, everyone present was dumbfounded. Who was Mo Song? He was the last disciple of the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance's Grand Elder, the Island Lord of Shunyue Island. In their eyes, he was high above and inviolable. But now, he was sent flying by a single slap, lying on the ground like a dog. This huge contrast made them feel as if they were in a dream, and it was unreal. What are you all standing there for? Kill him for me. Whoever can kill me will be heavily rewarded. Mo Song spat out 2 broken teeth that were stained with blood. He glared at Yi Chunfeng with his blood-red eyes as he ordered angrily. Kacha, kacha! Just as Mo Song's subordinates braced themselves to attack, Yi Chunfeng shot out a large amount of cold light from his fingertips, attacking them. In an instant, more than 30 experts of the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance were frozen, turning them into ice sculptures. Mo Song was scared silly by such a strange scene, and a strong sense of fear instantly occupied his face. I advise you not to act recklessly. My 3 Stars Island has 2 level 8 heavenly beasts and Emperor-level experts. If you hurt me, I guarantee that you will die without a burial ground. Mo Song ignored the pain on his face, and used the 2 heavenly beasts and the people of Misty Mountain to warn Yi Chunfeng. I really don't understand. Why would Yuyan let someone like you be the Island Lord of Shunyue Island? Yi Chunfeng looked coldly at the spineless Mo Song, extremely disappointed in him. You, who are you? Hearing Yi Chunfeng mention Mo Yuyan's name, Mo Song felt an inexplicable sense of uneasiness in his heart as he asked fearfully. I said, call your master over, and you will know who I am. And, no need to call, your master is already here. As soon as Yi Chunfeng finished speaking, his powerful soul spirit felt Emogu's aura appear on Xinyue Island. Other than Emogu, he also felt two familiar auras, the Chaos Divine Beast and the Golden Clear Dragon Blood Lion. Who is so daring to come to Xinyue Island to cause trouble? Grandpa Primal Chaos will not forgive him. The Divine Beast of Chaos roared at the top of its lungs as it flew over. Its terrifying voice was like the roar of a galloping beast, shaking the 9 heavens. Divine Beast, Master has invited the Divine Beast of the Ancient Ink Merchant Alliance. Hearing the terrifying roar of the Chaos Divine Beasts, the terrified Mo Song was overjoyed. His dead eyes revealed a sinister look. He was waiting for Mo Gu to appear with the 2 divine beasts so that he could launch a counterattack on Yi Chunfeng and tear him into pieces. Ji Li and the others looked at the sky that was shaking violently. Their faces changed, and they fell into fear and uneasiness again. Mo Song, do you think that I'm dead for sure now that they've come? When Yi Chunfeng caught the cold glint in Mo Song's eyes, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly as he said coldly, "That's right. I'm not afraid to tell you that the 2 divine beasts my master has brought are both rank 8 heavenly beasts. They can kill you with just a breath." Mo Song struggled to stand up and wiped the blood from his mouth. He stared at Yi Chunfeng with a sinister look. Rank 8 heavenly beasts. Just as Mo Song finished speaking, Ji Li, Jiang Xinyao, and the others took a deep breath. Their faces instantly turned pale, and the fear on their faces became even stronger. Huang Zhenfeng and the others were so excited that they couldn't speak. The fear in their hearts was swept away. They looked at Yi Chunfeng with a sinister and mocking expression. "If you don't want to die, kneel down and beg for mercy. Maybe I'll spare your life if I'm in a good mood." Mo Song said sinisterly. "Mo Song, no one can save you today." Yi Chunfeng had his hands behind his back as he spoke with an indifferent expression. Once again, a strong qi current formed in his palm and sucked Mo Song over. Mo Song was then sent flying with a slap. He fell heavily onto the ground. A large amount of blood and broken teeth flowed out from his mouth, staining it with blood. "Master God Beast, save me! This person wants to kill me!" As he fell to the ground, Mo Song didn't care about his face as he cried out for help. "Don't you dare harm my apprentice!" Hearing Mo Song's cry for help, Mook Gu angrily roared as he flew over with his soul wings. Yi Chunfeng turned a deaf ear to Mook Gu's command. He continued to teach Mo Song a lesson. Again and again, he sucked Mo Song over and over again and slapped him away. The terrifying strength of Mo Song's palms made him bleed from his 7 orifices and dizzy. Hearing Mo Song's pitiful cries, Mook Gu was enraged. He brought the Chaos God Beast and the Golden Clear Dragon Blood Lion to fly over. Bang! As they flew over the Jiang family mansion, the angry Mo Song indiscriminately struck out a palm at Yi Chunfeng. A terrifying palm light exploded through the air as it flew towards Yi Chunfeng. The powerful palm imprint was about to land on Yi Chunfeng's body, but it was blocked by a layer of terrifying air current, causing it to dissipate in midair. This, boss. As the Chaos God Beast and the Golden Clear Dragon Blood Lion saw Yi Chunfeng's restrained aura through the chaotic airflow, they were both stunned. "Mook Gu, I've discovered that saving you in the past was a mistake. You've disappointed me far too much," Yi Chunfeng coldly said as he crossed his hands behind his back. It's you." Seeing Yi Chunfeng's familiar face, Mook Gu's eyes widened. The killing intent on his face was instantly replaced by fear and his mind went blank. He never dreamed that the person Mo Song wanted to deal with would be Yi Chunfeng. As the last remaining highest elder of the Ancient Ink Commerce Alliance, he was well aware that the reason the Ancient Ink Commerce Alliance was where it was today was all thanks to Yi Chunfeng. It could be said that Yi Chunfeng was the true master behind the scenes of the Ancient Ink Commerce Alliance. As for the Reverse Beast King and Emperor-level powerhouses that had stayed in the Ancient Ink Commerce Alliance, They had all come for him. Chaos, Dragon Bloodlion, do you have nothing better to do? Who told you to come and join in the fun? Yi Chunfeng shouted as he looked at the primal chaos divine beast, the golden dragon bloodlion, who looked like a frightened bird. Boss, don't be angry. We didn't want to come to begin with, but your little lover Mo Yuyen was afraid that something would happen, so she told us to help this old bastard. The Chaos God Beast explained, feeling wronged. Lover, the ancient Ink-Commerce Alliance's alliance master, is his lover. Just who is he? Seeing the Chaos God Beast and Golden Clear Dragon Blood Lion act like mice in front of a cat, everyone was dumbfounded. Their eyes constantly changed as they looked at Yi Chunfeng. As for Mo Song, from the Chaos God Beast's words and the two Chaos God Beasts' attitude towards Yi Chunfeng, he was able to guess who this person was. He fell into a deep panic and sat down on the ground like a deflated balloon. After offending Yi Chunfeng, he knew he was finished. Mook Gu, do you know your crime? Yi Chunfeng shouted as he looked at Mook Gu. Beads of sweat were dripping down his forehead. Sir Yi, this old man knows he hasn't done anything wrong. Mook Gu said, pretending to be calm. Mo Song does whatever he pleases on Mystic Moon Island. He is completely lawless, and you dare to say you didn't know? Also, you didn't distinguish right from wrong and directly attacked him. Could it be that in your eyes, your disciple's life is more important than other people's lives? Yi Chunfeng didn't give Mook Gu any face as he aggressively questioned him. Aye. Mook Gu hesitated for a moment. Mook Gu, don't think you'll be fine just because you're stubborn. Once I search your souls and find out what you've done, not even Yu Yan will be able to save you. Yi Chunfeng coldly warned. Sir Yi, this old man knows his crime. I ask Sir Yi to be magnanimous and give Song another chance to turn over a new leaf. Thinking of Yi Chunfeng's methods, Mook Gu's heart no longer had the slightest bit of hope. He lowered his noble head and begged for mercy. The insufferably arrogant Mo Song was now kneeling on the ground. He constantly kowtowed to Yi Chunfeng, begging Yi Chunfeng to forgive him. You can be spared from death, but you can't escape punishment. From now on, you'll be a cripple. Yi Chunfeng looked coldly at Mo Song, who was kowtowing nonstop. His finger sword shot out a beam of sword light, directly piercing through Mo Song's heart meridian. As Mo Song wailed in pain, his cultivation was crippled. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record your reading history. The next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 743. Feng. No, young Master Yi, who are you? After witnessing Yi Chunfeng crippling Mo Song and reprimanding Mo Gu, Ji Li, Jiang Xinya, and the others were shocked by his swift and decisive actions. They asked in awe. I'm really from the northern spiritual region, but I have some connections with the ancient Mo Merchant Alliance. Yi Chunfeng looked at the cautious appearance of Ji Li and the others and said with a faint smile. Madam Jiang Xinya, I promise you that Xinyue Island will have a good island master in the future. As long as your Jiang family doesn't take the initiative to stir up trouble, no one will find trouble with you. Yi Chunfeng promised softly. Thank you, young Master Yi. Hearing Yi Chunfeng's promise, Ji Li, Jiang Xinya, and the others were so excited that they couldn't speak. They knew that the Jiang family's crisis was really over. They didn't have to leave Xinyue Island and wander around anymore. Huang Zhenfeng and the others, who were already scared silly, fell into despair. Although Yi Chunfeng didn't say anything, they knew that the Huang family was finished. Let's go back to 3 Stars Island. Yi Chunfeng summoned the Chaos Divine Beast back and rode the Golden Clear Dragon Bloodlion to bid farewell to Ji Li, Jiang Xinya, and the others. He brought the pale-faced Mo Gu, the crippled Mo Song, and the panic-stricken Mo Song back to 3 Stars Island. Sect Master Shui, where do you think Qingfeng is now? Will he be okay? Mo Yuyen, who was wearing a dark purple silk dress and had an elegant temperament, looked at Shui Piaoling, who was drinking tea, and asked softly. Qingfeng never does things that he isn't sure of. I think he should be here soon. Shui Piaoling put down the teacup in her hand and looked at Mo Yuyen's delicate face, sighing softly in her heart. Yes, suddenly, Shui Piaoling's released soul felt a familiar aura. She quickly looked out of the window, and the hand that was holding the teacup trembled slightly. What's wrong, Sect Master Shui? Seeing Shui Piaoling's excited appearance, Mo Yuyen asked expectantly. Qingfeng is here. I feel his aura. Shui Piaoling took a deep breath, suppressing the excitement in her heart, and said, Really? Mo Yuyen quickly stood up from her chair and waited for Yi Qingfeng with Shui Piaoling outside the ancient Mo Merchant Alliance. Qingfeng, it really is Qingfeng. Looking at Yi Qingfeng's chiseled handsome face from afar, his eyes as deep as the sea, and his heroic bearing, Mo Yuyen couldn't even breathe on her own. Her eyes turned red. After so many years, she realized that Yi Qingfeng had changed. He had become more manly, and the aura he exuded made her captivated. However, when she saw Mook Gu, who had summoned his soul wings, followed closely behind Yi Qingfeng, and the ashen Mook Gu, as well as the 8 flying spirit beasts, her complexion changed as she thought of something. Qingfeng, you're finally back. When Yi Qingfeng jumped off the golden clear dragon bloodlion, Shui Piaoling immediately walked up to him, and said softly with a charming smile like a blooming flower. Sister Piaoling, did everyone from Misty Mountain come to 3 Stars Island? Yi Qingfeng said softly with a faint smile as he looked at Shui Piaoling, who was dressed in a white silk dress and exuded a natural aura. She did not put on any makeup, but her beauty shone brightly. Our Misty Mountain was lucky this time. We all escaped the pursuit and successfully arrived at 3 Stars Island. Now, the Grand Elder and Master are cultivating in the sea. Shui Piaoling gave a simple explanation. That's good. Yi Qingfeng nodded and felt relieved. Qingfeng, did you wait for Mo Fengyun in Spiritual Mountain? Shui Piaoling asked. Yes, but that Mo Fengyun is very tough. I couldn't kill him. Yi Qingfeng gave a simple explanation, but he hid the fact that he was pursued by the Yu family's 2 ancestors. Mo Fengyun is blessed with great fortune. It's not easy to kill him. Although Yi Qingfeng's description was calm, Shui Piaoling knew that his battle with Mo Fengyun was not as easy as he made it out to be. Yi Qingfeng overbearingly said, that was his last time escaping. If I see him again, then even the heavens won't be able to save him. With that, Yi Qingfeng glanced at Mo Yuyen, who was standing in place with silence, and said, Yuyen, I have something to tell you. Let's go inside and talk. Okay. Mo Yuyen bit her rosy lips and resisted the urge to jump into Yi Qingfeng's arms. She followed Yi Qingfeng to the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance's main hall. Shui Piaoling felt that something was wrong with Yi Qingfeng's expression, so she didn't follow. Mo Gu and the others didn't dare to argue, and could only anxiously wait for the final punishment. Yi Qingfeng took a sip of the spirit tea that Mo Yuyen poured for him and slowly said, Yuyen, I think you've already guessed what happened on Xinyue Island. Qingfeng, you can do whatever you want with Mo Song. I have no objections. Mo Yuyen quietly sat in front of him, looked at his handsome face, and softly said. Yi Qingfeng said, I've already punished Mo Song, but the Ancient Ink Merchant Alliance really needs to be cleaned up. The Ancient Ink Merchant Alliance is rotten to the core. If we don't do something drastic, then there will be no hope. Mo Yuyen said, Qingfeng, although I'm the Alliance Lord of the Ancient Ink Merchant Alliance, the true master of the Ancient Ink Merchant Alliance is you. I have no objections to how you want to clean up the Ancient Ink Merchant Alliance. Yi Qingfeng said, Yuyen, tell me the truth about the Ancient Ink Merchant Alliance's situation in the past few years. Okay. Mo Yuyen nodded and told him about the changes in the Ancient Ink Merchant Alliance without hiding anything. You're saying that in the past few years, the Ancient Ink Merchant Alliance has been controlled by Mook Gu? Yi Chunfeng asked after hearing Mo Yuyan's explanation. He had basically confirmed the direction of the cleansing. Mo Yuyan nodded and said apologetically, "Yes. I don't know what happened to the Grand Elder these past few years, but his pursuit of power has exceeded my imagination. As for me, I wanted to pursue the Supreme Grand Tao, so I allowed the Grand Elder to control the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance, resulting in the current situation." However, she didn't tell Yi Chunfeng that her pursuit of the Supreme Grand Tao was to follow in Yi Chunfeng's footsteps. She didn't want to be left too far behind. However, after seeing Yi Chunfeng again, Mo Yuyan found that the gap between her and Yi Chunfeng had widened. This made her feel powerless. She felt that even if she gave it her all, she would never be able to catch up to Yi Chunfeng in this lifetime. "Yuyan, no matter what, you've worked hard these past few years. This bottle of pills is for you. Once you refine the heaven-rank soul pills in this bottle, you will definitely be able to break through to the reverse Beast King realm." Yi Chunfeng looked at Mo Yuyan's haggard face and gave her a bottle of precious heaven-rank soul pills. Other than the heaven-rank soul pills, Yi Chunfeng also gave Mo Yuyan a mid-grade heaven sword, a supreme-grade heaven-rank soul art, and a supreme-grade heaven-rank soul skill. "That's right, Yuyan, where are Senior Sister Fu and the others? Why don't I feel their auras in the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance?" Yi Chunfeng asked after giving the gifts to Mo Yuyan. "Miss Fu, Senior Qingshan went to Slaughter City to train a few years ago. He hasn't returned yet," Mo Yuyan said. "Slaughter City? I should go there and take a look. I wonder what realm the King of Slaughter has reached." Yi Chunfeng's eyes shone with sharpness as he thought about the King of Slaughter who had hunted him down in the past and almost forced him into a dead end. Yi Chunfeng's powerful return had shocked the entire ancient Ink Merchant Alliance and 3 Stars Island. His next series of actions had also caused a huge commotion in the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance. Yi Chunfeng had cleansed the ancient Ink bloodline with lightning speed, severely punishing a series of black sheep, and changing the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance from its root. Soon, the ancient Ink Merchant Alliance was on the right track. Yi Chunfeng had eliminated all the internal tumors. At this time, Yi Chunfeng took Xue Piaoling, Mo Yuyan, Ji Qingxue, and Bai Xia, the 4 peerless beauties, and left 3 Stars Island on a ship, heading towards the chaotic sea region's Slaughter City. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button below to record this book. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support.